Well, it was all set to be one of those great Trans-Tasman Titanic struggles, the New Zealand bowls team versus Australia, and you just have to have a look at the program. New Zealand were on a roll. They won the last 3 consecutively in the Trans-Tasman series. The Australians just ahead on the history table, 8-7 in the matches, and the program was phenomenal. Perella versus Lawson in the singles, the up-and-comer taking on the hardened campaigner from Queensland. It was bound to be a great match. We had Ball versus Butter in the doubles, and a Titanic tussle set down for the triples, and of course Steve Anderson from Australia was going to be the skip and trying to take down that mighty Bellis battleship in the awesome foursome. Did somebody mention a ship?
Because something buoyant is the best form of transport around these parts all this weekend. The North East Valley Greens are way beyond squeegeeing. I think that's what they use to clear the water. The locals, of course, are insisting that it only rains 3 times a year here. And yeah, January to May, June to September, and October through December, I reckon, after spending the last few days here. I was warned by the heavens that this could be the weekend from hell. The fan belt bit the bitumen about 3/4 of the way down here, and I mistakenly thought that because the Mazda had managed to miss its way into town, we'd be all right. Have you ever found yourself labouring under the weight of an unwilling mound of scrap metal with spectators? Yeah, well, we'll leave it there, I think. Anyway, this morning the stars are still stacked up inside the North East Valley Bowling Club. Even the normally sedate Stu Scott is getting a wee bit testy on it. In order to fill in the few hours that are bound to be here today, the singles champ and the commentator have put together a new title. It's the World When It's Wet Indoor Singles Challenge. And the inaugural title belongs at this stage to our wily Stuart Scott, Radio New Zealand commentator. Some bits of Dunedin, of course, still look stunning in the rain. Other parts of it aren't quite so friendly. Believe it or not, a stunt student actually tried to surf hang 10 down this yesterday. He's all right, but his surfboard has ended up here somewhere. The locals still reckon it was fine before we arrived, and I believe them because the track conditions are a wee bit treacherous, eh? I mean, the slow motion replay should convince the Stipes. Beautiful. Wonder what it's like at Forbury Park tonight for the trots.
Well, there are 2 choices here. Either we're really early and we're finally going to get to see a race at Forbury Park from the member stand, unimpeded by a person in a white coat, or a little birdie tells me that they've actually postponed the night trots. But there is going to be duck racing with the first leg of the double, the race for 3-year-old Drakes and Geldings.
Do it on my cover, go across to the triples, all right? Yes, there's no change to the conditions, Keith.
He's on his flank right, he's playing one there. He's good 2.5 foot out.
Shouldn't be out. Got one sitting right here. A very warm welcome to the North East Valley Bowling Club in Dunedin, where we're witnessing the first end in the pairs of the Qantas Trans-Tasman series. A delayed start somewhat to the 1994 Qantas Trans-Tasman, because this is actually the third test, or day 3 of a 3-day test series. The first 2 days unfortunately being washed out because of torrential rain here in Dunedin over the last 56 hours, but we're underway this morning. The pairs being played between Rowan Brassey, leading for Philip Scogland of New Zealand, and Cameron Curtis, the young sensation from Australia, leading for a player not well known to New Zealand audiences, but I'm sure by the end of today's play that will be the reverse, Robbie Ball out of Western Australia. In the commentary position with me today, Terry Scott, former New Zealand international, club manager of the North East Valley Club, and a man who's been working extremely hard over the last 2 days to endeavour to get some play out here. And Terry, you'd be delighted to see finally some bowls going down the green.
Yes, finally got a smile on my face, Bill. It has been very disappointing for myself and for the members of this club who've put in a lot of effort for this event, and unfortunately we don't have any control over the weather, but nevertheless, players underway, and that's the most joyous thing. I've been waking up every morning wondering if we're ever going to see this event held this year, and we're very pleased now that we can see the players out there. Conditions that probably are a little bit difficult to some extent because of the fact that this green here that they're playing on was totally awash until about midnight last night. Members of the club were here until 1:15 with a pump operating, taking the water off the green. It was clear first thing this morning, and then to our shock at around about 7:30, 7:15, we had a torrential downpour of rain again, which completely flooded the green. So I think it is a good effort from behalf of the members of the club to have got the green in the condition that it is now, and players underway.
Well, you've heard it from the man that's in charge of the North East Valley Club, Terry Scott, and we're still just halfway through this first end. Conditions overhead heavily overcast. The sun is trying to break through. The pairs, of course, in this particular competition, they're playing to World Bowls Board laws of the game, and the pairs and fours during this event will be played over 21 ends. The singles and fours, singles will be the first to 25 shots, and the triples will be over 18 ends. In this morning's round, we're featuring the pairs game. On the adjacent rink, the New Zealand triple are playing the Australian triple, and then in this afternoon we play the singles and the fours. So for viewers at home watching this, the first end of the pairs, the 94 Qantas Trans-Tasman, we are looking at an end where New Zealand at the moment are holding shot. Cameron Curtis has actually played up narrow, trying to run through the head, and has promoted another New Zealand bowl. I would say, looking at it from our commentary position, New Zealand may actually have 3 shots there. Rowan Brassey playing down his forehand, the bowl breaking from left to right as we look at it, and Philip Scogland's asked obviously for a bowl through the back of the head, a protection situation. So Australia will continue to attack the head.
Yeah, mate, go more positive if you like.
Cameron Curtis on his backhand, he will not be short. He's not short, he's come through and actually sat one of the New Zealand bowls. That would probably be third shot where that Australian bowl has finished now. Philip Scogland, meanwhile, comes out to the front of the head and has asked Rowan Brassey to play his backhand, asking for another bowl on the head. Frustrating time for the players over the last 2 or 3 days, sitting around hotel rooms, plenty of games of cards, plenty of reading of books. Rowan Brassey into his work very well there, and has played a extremely good bowl on his backhand, resting almost jack level, certainly in the count. 2 and a measure for New Zealand at the moment, as the skips cross over to play their final 2 bowls.
It's been suggested, Bill, that the Australians just don't play in this sort of weather. It's final, they're not there. Does that give them a disadvantage?
Well, one would have a degree of sympathy for them, Sheldon, but being Australians, I'm sure they're used to playing in most conditions. All these players are international. They've played around the world. Certainly conditions, probably in terms of Queensland and Perth, where the bulk of this side come from, the greens there running a constant 15-16 seconds. It'll be interesting to get Terry Scott shortly to give us some sort of measure as the pace of this green, but you will find particularly if this breeze keeps up, the green will dry out very quickly indeed, and I would suggest it's still running very well indeed considering the amount of water that's in it. Robbie Ball at the moment, the new international player for Australia. He looks as if he's going to play with weight on his forehand. He'd be looking to try and break up this New Zealand advantage that they currently hold. He's bowl breaking from left to right as you look at it on your screen. He's cutting across the front of the head. He's disturbed a couple of bowls, but New Zealand would still hold 2. Notice the New Zealand bowl to the left of the jack as you look at it on the screen with the white chalk mark on it. That was Rowan Brassey's last bowl, which just sliced across the front of the jack, the white chalk mark indicating that it had touched it. Philip Skoglund, meanwhile, on his backhand. Breaking towards the head, but short of weight. I mean, it will take these players probably 2 or 3 ends in these conditions, certainly to settle to the draw weight, and that's all Philip can play at the moment. He's got a couple of shots and he's only trying to add, but good yard to 2 yards short in that particular instance. Robbie Ball with his last bowl again. He will come down the forehand. It'll be left to right as you look at it on your screen at home. Certainly played with weight. He'll be looking for the sit the bowl or the jack. And indeed, he is wide of his target. Brassey indicates to Skoglund that we've still got a couple, and you've got room to draw another one.
Still draw it there. That's a counter.
Rowan encouraging Philip's bowl here. He says you've played it pretty well, and he has played it extremely well indeed. He's drawn a back toucher. That's an outstanding bowl from Philip Skoglund, and New Zealand away to an excellent start in this, the first end of the Qantas Trans-Tasman for 94 in the pairs. They've picked up 3. Terry Scott, a comment on the pace of the green in that first end?
Yes, well, at the moment, Bill, I would think that the green has probably run around about the 15-second mark. It was interesting to note earlier on when the trial ends were being played prior to the commencement of the match that the first bowl from most of the players went in the ditch, which indicated that they expected the green to be a little bit slower than what it is. That's perfectly understandable from the point that we look at how much rain was on the green, and they would have expected it to be a little bit slower. But it was double rolled this morning prior to the commencement of play, and I think that's probably allowed the pace of the green to just stay up around the 15-second mark. Probably, Bill, we won't really see too much change in respect to that, although there is a breeze at the moment which may dry the green out a little bit. If we do happen to get a little bit of sunshine, it will be counteracted because it will start drawing the moisture up. So I don't think we'll see too much change in the pace of the green, and looking at the start on that end, I'm sure the New Zealanders are very happy with the pace of it. That was an excellent start, Bill.
Well, there you have it from the expert, the man who's sweated literally over these greens over the last 3 or 4 days, and nobody could be more happy to see play underway finally in this 94 Trans-Tasman series. Cameron Curtis, the new sensation of Australian bowls. 22 years of age, and of course he comes to this event having in the last fortnight just won the World Indoor Pairs in association with fellow Australian Ian Schubeck, who according to the Australian selectors is not good enough to make this side. Schubeck and Curtis sharing something like £25,000 for first prize in that particular event. The a very experienced Rowan Brassey leading against Cameron Curtis. Brassey, a remarkable record, first played for New Zealand in 1982, and this is his 12th consecutive Trans-Tasman series. Certainly the only player in this series to be in that situation. 12 years of playing the Australians in Trans-Tasman. The highlight probably of Brassey's career to date, at any case, the 1988 World Pairs victory with Peter Bellis in Auckland. But a very experienced player at 38 years of age in the New Zealand side, and looked to by the selectors and the rest of the New Zealand team now for his maturity, not only in draw play but in his ability to read the head. Philip Skoglund, perhaps somewhat of a surprise selection for some in terms of the skip of this particular combination, but Philip had an outstanding series against South Australia in October in Auckland, and I think that more than anything clinched his place in this particular team. He showed a great deal of maturity in skipping the fours and the pairs in that particular series, and he'll be looking to cement that performance, particularly with Commonwealth Games selection just around the corner. Indeed, the New Zealand Commonwealth Games team to go to Canada later in the year, to be announced at the end of this series. So we look at the head at the moment. New Zealand probably hold shot, Terry, do they, to the front bowl of Rowan Brassey's?
Yes, they definitely hold the one shot there. The bowl level with the jack would be second shot, the Australian bowl. So New Zealand quickly into their work, as one might say today, because they've commenced very well and got good bowls on the head.
Robbie Ball playing on his backhand. He'll be looking to use probably the Australian bowl, which is jack level, and in these conditions playing up and sitting bowls is a pretty good alternative, and here we see him playing with weight coming across the front of the head and actually squeezing out the Brassey shot bowl. So Australia hold one, and I think the bowl in front of the jack is also theirs. They may well hold two after that particular shot. We look at that head at the moment. The bowl that is level or almost level with the chalk mark indeed is the shot, and angles can be deceiving because you would swear it was the bowl on the left. Yeah. Rowan Brassey, meantime, with his third bowl on this, the second end, playing down his backhand, the bowl breaking from right to left. He again will be looking to use the Australian bowl to draw a shot. He's probably undone himself by 2 or 3 feet of weight.
Yes, Australia do have one shot there, Bill. New Zealand are in a very good position at the moment because they actually have about 4 second shots there. So they'll be looking to start attacking that shot bowl possibly soon if Australia don't get another one handy.
Cameron Curtis, massive concentration as he delivers his third bowl, but he has finished a good 3 to 4 sheets short in the running. Probably hear Philip's comments to Rowan there. Change hands, play your forehand, a couple of yards of weight, looking to sit the bowl through or promote his own New Zealand bowl. We'll know very shortly. The bowl breaking left to right on our screen. Brassey is narrow and is going to duck away from the target, but having the first run shot of the day for him, he was in the target zone, Terry.
Yes, that's what the New Zealand side's got to look at on this head, with having, like I said, about the 4 second shots there. Australia are going to be desperately want to get another bowl handy, because if Philip manages to sit that bowl out in the shot that he did give Rowan, they've certainly got a good head.
Cameron Curtis, meantime, with his last bowl in this particular second end, and won't altogether be that pleased with that. He got out wide and it stayed wide. 31-year-old Palmerston North policeman Philip Skoglund, of the famous Skoglund family of New Zealand bowls, and Father Phil would be a particularly proud man today, I would think, to see Philip playing in what is his second domestic Trans-Tasman series. He played in Kapiti in '91. He's going to play a similar shot that he asked Rowan Brassey to play. It'll be down the forehand. He'll be looking to sit the shot bowl or promote one of his own. He looks narrow on screen, and indeed he is. He's broken away well to the right of the head as we look at it. Probably needs to play that with more weight, Terry, I would
Yes,
think.
I was just thinking that, Bill. I think they really do need to play that with a little bit more weight so as they can hold up underneath that bowl that's in front of the jack. And I think really they've got to play with ditch weight and be a little bit more aggressive to that bowl.
Easy trap to fall into these conditions. You're trying to play dead draw weight, aren't you, rather than replacement weight?
Yes, and of course the players are still just getting the feel of the green. This is only the second end, so they have to see what line they're going to take. And there is a little bit of a breeze blowing at the moment, which will have some effect on the bowls.
Robbie Ball, meantime, has come down on his backhand and he's picked the jack up clean as a whistle. Very difficult to tell on this particular situation, but I think he may have given the shot away. He's dragged the jack through to one of the New Zealand bowls. Rowan Brassey in his normal manner are a little bit unemotional, and it's difficult to get a guide from the players, but that's how it looks on the screen. Curtis wouldn't be happy with that. He held one. It was probably a precarious one, but it's better than the one that he's given away in this situation. Philip Skoglund, meantime, with his last bowl on this, the second end, he's playing down his backhand. And I don't think the way this particular head lies that he will be able to do terribly much more with it. The bowl breaking from right to left, he's played it very well indeed, but that is an interesting situation. Terry, a call from you on just the state of play there.
Well, I'm finding that very interesting as well, Bill. New Zealand did definitely have the shot after Robbie Ball played the jack through there, and I just having a look there. Yes, it's difficult, isn't it? It's hard to see there, but Philip Skoglund may well have given the shot away again, but I think he was real keen to get another bowl on the head. They didn't have too many bowls around there, New Zealand.
No, well, he certainly achieved that, and the way Robbie Ball is shaping on the mat, he's not going to be short. Robbie Ball playing down his forehand. Certainly playing with enough weight to reach the target. The bowl breaking from left to right on your screen, but he is narrow and under the target. Brassey is quickly picking up the mat and the jack, and he's going out to lay it for this, the third end. So clearly Philip Skoglund didn't disturb the head as much as we thought, and New Zealand are away to a 4-0 lead after two ends. That's a good start, and the first of the two ends in this 1994 Qantas Trans-Tasman Series. The pairs being played today, of course, day 3 of the Test Series, or the third Test, with the first 2 being abandoned. There's an indication of the type of breeze we have here today, and we could do with just a little bit more than that, because that will serve to dry the surface out. You've already heard Terry Scott comment that it won't make terribly much difference to the pace of the track, but it certainly will give the surrounding conditions a little chance to dry out. And Terry, you'd also be, of course, pretty keen for the whole area to dry out with your big Cableways North East Valley 10,000 singles next week.
Yes, Bill, we certainly are, and looking at the forecast, I think we may be okay, but yes, big singles event, 24 of the country's top players competing next week for $10,000 prize money in the Cableways Tavern sponsored 10,000 tournament, and this is the 4th year this event has been run, and we're certainly keen to get it underway again this year. And with having the test players from this event staying on to play in it, the 5 New Zealand players and 3 of the Australian players are staying on to compete in that event, it certainly raises the calibre of the field. And personally, but I'm not even looking forward to going out there and playing myself, and I have to play Rob Rowler first up.
Yes, an outstanding field this year, and of course the North East Valley Club have taken advantage of having the test players in Dunedin. 3 of the current Australian side will be staying on to play in it. The full New Zealand team are in the field, so probably the best quality field that the club's attracted for this event in its 4-year history, I would suggest, Terry.
Yes, certainly is, Bill. Last year we had the opportunity of getting Trevor Morris from Australia, an international bowler from there, come over and play in the event, and he won the event, had an excellent final with Ian Dickerson on that occasion. It was outstanding bowls, and he won that event last year. But this year the field, yes, it's certainly a tougher one. Besides the test players, there is other former internationals, top bowlers from Dunedin competing in the event, so it's certainly just not these players out here today. There's another bunch of them, and they're going to be right up to the task as well.
Whilst we've been talking about next week's North East Valley 10,000, Philip Scoglan has come down to play his first bowl on this, the third end. He's playing on his forehand, the bowl breaking from left to right, drawing to the head, and I think he's done it pretty well indeed. In fact, he's drawn up and drawn the shot, and Rowan Brassey acknowledges that, just the hands together. Rowan, never the most demonstrative player ever to play for New Zealand, but giving the support where it's required, and that's important for in a pairs combination. You must keep your partner going. Sheldon, in racing terms, how would you describe conditions? Holding?
Probably easy anyway.
Certainly easy.
A bit treacherous. I don't notice the players are sort of sprinting up the green after their bowls today, probably for fear of going A over K.
Exactly. Forbury Park, of course, Trots lost here last night as well because of the weather, but I think there's another night, Tuesday night, is there not, Sheldon?
Yeah, they're going to try and drain the track or whatever. It was pretty wet out there last night, and Tuesday night, by the time it comes around, I guess they'll be back to fine and fast, no doubt. So the locals tell me anyway.
Philip Scoglan's just added a second shot to the one he's already drawn. Robbie Ball, meantime, playing down his forehand, but he's extremely wide and certainly overweighted by a good 3 to 4 yards, and he wouldn't be happy with that bowl. The Australian combination just haven't quite settled at the moment. They, of course, are new to each other as well. To my knowledge, Curtis and Ball have not played together, certainly not at this level, because it is the first Trans-Tasman Test series that Robbie Ball's ever competed in, and he'll probably just be feeling the nerves a little bit. Rowan Brassey, meantime, on the draw and doing it pretty well indeed. Always very steady with his weight, isn't he, Terry?
Rowan is always in the area. As you said before, Bill, he doesn't really show too much emotion about anything at all. He just goes out there and plays the game of bowls, and has been a great contributor to the game in New Zealand in the time that he has played. But he is a very, very steady bowler, and never see too many stray ones from Rowan.
Cameron Curtis making sure that he reached. He had to do that just over the draw to sit the New Zealand bowls. He managed to do that with one of them, but New Zealand still holding at least one. Rowan Brassey, meantime, left to right this bowl as we look at it on the screen. Philip Scoglan getting down, giving it plenty of support, and that's a superb shot. He's finished up a foot behind the jack, almost as good a bowl as you can possibly play. Still room for Curtis. It's well open. There's nothing blocking his forehand. It's just a matter of weight and green. He's concentrating pretty hard on this one.
I think he might be just a wee bit tight, Bill. Yes, he's going underneath the head.
He is, and the look belied the particular bowl, because he'd be disappointed with that.
What we're finding, Bill, is I think that breeze is having quite an effect there, actually. Those bowls are holding a very tight line coming down there, and they've just got to come around the front bowls there to get the shot. New Zealand are in a good position here.
Glenn, our producer, making one or two comments in terms of the crowd, and there we see some of them at the moment. Conditions somewhat chilly, one would have to say, but people of Dunedin, the bowls people of Dunedin, are good supporters of the sport, and they're starting to come in now. They realise that the Test series is but finally underway. Back to Philip Scoglan. Down on the backhand. The bowl, as we watch it, will work from right to left on our screen. He looks to be playing through the head, a bit of a protection. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He may well have been drawing and just hadn't done it terribly well, but he's finished up 5 to 6 feet through the back of the head. Robbie Ball, 37 years of age, from the very strong West Australian state. The West Australian combination have won the last two Australian state titles, so Bowls in the Western Australia area particularly strong. Steve Anderson and Steve Shroy from Western Australia as well in this Australian team. Robbie Ball on the jog as he follows this bowl down on his backhand. Bowl working from right to left as we look at it, and he's played this very well indeed. He has drawn a bowl that will be very close to shot, I would imagine, by the time Rowan Brassey has a look at it, and indicates to Philip Scoggin that indeed he's one down. That's a top shot from Robbie Ball, because he was 2 and a bit down when he let it go. No option but to dead draw it, and he's done just that. Philip Scoggin wouldn't have much option either, Terry, would he? He's only got the draw on.
Yeah, Philip will be just looking to skirt round the front bowls and try and just come on to Rowan's draw bowl so as he can pop the Australian bowl out the other side. He's probably just a little bit tight looking at it at the moment. I think he's going to get caught up in the front stuff. It's unfortunate, really. There's an opportunity there. It wasn't an easy shot to play, though.
Almost promoted another Australian bowl for second shot, but the bowl just rolled wide of the shot bowl as we look at it. So it's still 1 to Australia. Australia, of course, playing this series with the traditional green and gold discs, and New Zealand, of course, with the black and white. And similar in the uniforms, Australia the green and gold with a little bit of white in this particular out-weather uniform, and New Zealand with the black and white and the silver fern proudly being displayed on the left-hand pocket of Philip Scoggin as we look at this particular end. Robbie Ball, he'll be looking to add. Not an easy shot to play because their weight control would still be not what they would want at the bowl. Breaking left to right, he's played it pretty well indeed. He just scoots past the outside of the New Zealand bowl, and Australia have shot. So they're on the way in this, the third end of the SIS summer season of bowls, covering the 94 Qantas Trans-Tasman Series. New Zealand 4-1 up after 3 ends in the pairs.
16th series between the two nations, with the advantage at this stage just to Australia by 8 to 7. Doing a wee bit of swat there, Bill. Although Australia hold the Trans-Tasman Test Series edge at this stage, New Zealand has put together a run, 3 in a row, I think, since 1991. So they're on the roll at this stage.
Indeed, and if they can win this particular series, of course, it squares it at 8 each. Vital competition for both countries, this Trans-Tasman Series, because it is played on an annual home and away basis. It really provides the top 5 players in each country the opportunity to pit their skills on an annual basis. This young man playing his second series, Cameron Curtis. He's big, he's strong, and he's obviously a very good player at 22 years of age. He's won most of what there is available to win, and already in a brief career. Rowan Brassey, again we see both players just somewhat astray in the draw. Cameron Curtis, yard and a half through the head, Rowan Brassey yard and a half short of it. Very easy delivery, Terry, Cameron Curtis.
Yeah, very smooth delivery. I've seen Cameron play on a number of occasions, and he's not unlike Rowan Brassey in a way. He's very unperturbed about any situation indeed, and he's certainly got a lot of experience for such a young fella, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot more of Cameron Curtis over the years to come.
Yes, well, Rowan Brassey changed hands and played down his forehand, the bowl coming from left to right as we looked at it on the screen, but he's probably the same distance over as he was short with his first. So just a couple of loose bowls from Rowan on this, the fourth end. There we have a look at the Radio New Zealand commentary team. Stuart Scott, the regular Mr. Bowls, or the voice of bowls throughout New Zealand, talking to Peter Keane, sales manager for Otago Southland Spates Breweries, tremendous supporters of bowls in this country, and Peter Keane doing the comments today there with Stuart Scott, and that sounds like a likely combination, Terry.
I think it breeds danger, that combination, really, but having seen them or heard them before in that position, they're certainly a good team.
The real danger, of course, is that they're inside, and that puts them somewhat closer to the hospitality area.
Yes, and I'm sure they will be visiting that part of the clubhouse on a number of occasions, knowing the history of these two fellas. But nevertheless, Bill, we get the view, don't we?
We do indeed. Two lots of Scots involved in the coverage of the 94 Qantas Trans-Tasman. Stuart Scott, Sports Roundup, the voice of New Zealand Bowls and Radio, and Terry Scott here with us on Action Television today, providing comments for the television commentary team. There they are, what a glorious bunch they are. Terry Scott on the left of the screen as you look at it, Sheldon Merthyr on the right, and fortunately the gentleman in the middle is covered by the set. We must get back to the bowls. Robbie Ball jogging down the head as he has drawn shot. This is certainly the loosest end they've played. Plenty of room for both combinations here, and Philip Scoglan will be looking to take advantage of that. Nail it by drawing a front toucher or perhaps a back toucher, certainly by drawing shot. He's failed to do that. He's going to run on probably 3 to 4 feet through the head, so still the opportunity for Cameron and Rowan as they cross over to play their final two bowls on this particular end. And in these situations, it's a matter who gets there first.
Yes, all four bowlers at the moment have just struggled on this end. I think it's because of the fact that the Australians who won the last end have stretched the length of the head out a little bit longer, and as we said earlier, they're still probably in that feeling stage to some extent, and just being a longer end, they're just struggling at the moment.
You can see from that shot the players and the triples are wandering down their green on the adjacent rink. They're into the third end of that particular game, and it's 1-1 after 2, and we've just seen Cameron Curtis do what we thought might happen. He's got there first. He's drawn a very good shot, 6 inches jack level. And Brassey meantime with the breeze starting to just get a little bit stronger, and again Brassey is through that 3 to 4 feet of weight. Just watch the release of this bowler, Cameron Curtis. Couldn't be better. He very close contact to the ground, very strong straight right arm in the delivery. Robbie Ball, partner, looking at this bowl as it breaks towards the head from left to right. It's finished, still finished 2.5, 3 feet short, but it may well count.
Yeah, that's another shot, Bill. Actually, Australia could be holding at least 3 shots there on this head, so New Zealand will be desperately looking to get something in there.
Scotland started to have a look at the bowl, just struggling to get past that front bowl. That wouldn't have cut, may have cut one out, but that would be doubtful.
Definitely holding 2.
Robbie Ball, he'll come down on his forehand. He'll look to add to the count. He wouldn't want to be too narrow. Brassey's bowl is in the run for promotion, but probably in these conditions would have to give it a real good thump to promote it. Massive concentration as he follows this particular bowl. Fourth end, and he's going to die short of weight. His line was perfect.
It's becoming very difficult for New Zealand to get into now with those last 2 bowls. They've just been sitting out in the draw, and I think Philip Scoglan could be seriously contemplating driving at this head. There's a gap in the front there. He may well look at driving the jack, so it'd be interesting to see what shot he does play.
Well, you've heard the call from Terry Scott. Philip Scoglan's somewhat contemplating it. He's standing on the mat. He's certainly shaping as though he's going to play with weight on the back end. I'm sure he will attack it. Yeah, no, he's playing on the back end with weight. It's a matter now of how his line is. The bowl working slightly from right to left. He's close. He's got the jack clean as a whistle and he's sprung it out, and it has stayed within the confines of the rink. Excellent shot, Philip Skoglund. He's actually given New Zealand two as we look at it from here. Brassey shakes his hand. That was a good shot. He came off the bowl. It was bowl or Jack Terry, played it well.
He's definitely got one shot there. I think it may have been the touch that stayed on the green. I initially thought, Bill, that it was the touch that went in the ditch. But
there we see the first slip in these somewhat tricky conditions. Robbie Ball playing out wide on his forehand and probably forcing himself to get somewhere near the ditch, and has played it very well indeed. He's drawn it inside the bowl that was closest to the ditch. That's an outstanding bowl from Robbie Ball, Terry.
it was an outstanding bowl. He only had really a yard from the ditch to draw that shot, and he played it outstandingly there.
There's Skoglund's bowl, which destroyed the head from Australia's point of view. Off the bowl as we see it, onto the jack, springs the jack out to the left of the screen. The shot bowl follows through with it. Into the drain goes the jack. But Australia still holds shot because Robbie Ball, drawing to the ditch, drew inside the bowl. Philip Skoglund, meantime, he's going to try and drive the Australian shot bowl out. Couple of swing backs of the arm. He'll just have to watch his feet in these conditions. It's on its way. Wide of the target, into the drain, and probably would have had in the back of his mind, Terry, just the underfoot conditions in that shot.
Yes, I really think we'll probably see more of the weighted shot rather than the driver in these conditions, Bill. The green is, of course, with the moisture, is very greasy at the moment, particularly at the end that they've just played from. The surface is probably a little bit thinner up there, and unfortunately it's made it that little bit greasy with having so much moisture on it. So I'm sure the bowlers will be very mindful of that, and will be looking at what sort of shot they do play when they're going to play with weight.
We've completed 4 ends in the pairs of the Qantas Trans-Tasman for 94. New Zealand lead Australia 4-2. And on screen at the moment, on this Sunday morning, we're looking at, well, Terry, you tell me what we are looking at, but...
just one of the back streets of North East Valley by the looks of it.
I thought we were looking at the Scott household for a minute, but...
No, we're in the other direction, Bill. We're up in the sunny part.
For the last 3 days.
Rowan Brassey, a loose end by his standard of play on the 4th end. He'll be looking to get back into his work, tighten up his line, and start building heads for New Zealand. And there we see him just sliding past the Australian bowl, but it's in the target area. He's a couple of feet through the head. Meanwhile, we can tell you that in the triples on the adjacent rink, Australia, after 3 ends, they obviously picked up a 5 on the 3rd end to jump out to a 6-1 lead. So that will be a confidence builder for them.
Yes, it was an excellent end in the triples game. I just happened to be glancing over there, Bill, and they did pick up that 5. There was 5 very, very close bowls from the jack, and I can assure you that Gary Lawson didn't look very happy when he was pegging them out.
No, you get to the situation where you just keep taking them out. And if they're not yours, it's not a comfortable feeling.
It doesn't make you feel good. This probably the best thing, Bill. It's better to drop it at this stage of the game than at the end.
Indeed. Rowan Brassey, meantime, has come up. He has set the back of the Australian 2 bowls, but Australia would still hold 2 after the leads have completed their first 2 bowls. There we see part of the triples as that particular bowl disappears under what looks like a roof to us, but that's the camera position. The sunshine's starting to break through, and it's an item we have not seen since about Wednesday lunchtime, which in terms of the calendar week's 4 days ago.
Yes, it was disappointing, Bill, from the fact that in the lead-up matches, which were played on Wednesday and Thursday, the players were here on Monday. There was excellent weather, and all of a sudden on Thursday night the heavens opened, and we've had it ever since, downpours of rain.
No coincidence that it was also St Patrick's Day when it started to rain. Philip Skoglund on his backhand, playing away from the clubhouse. Nothing else but the draw. Has to ensure that he reaches. No point in dropping short. And he has cut across the front of the head, and he's just slightly sliced the jack back to the two Australian bowls. It's not a very big item, that white little kitty, Terry, and he needed it just a little bit more fuller.
Yeah, Philip was just a little bit unfortunate there. He had very good weight to take that jack, and if he'd got it squarely, he would have taken it to the two bowls of Rowan Brassies that were sitting behind the Australian bowls. So he was a little bit unfortunate, and what's really happened is he's just tightened the head up a little bit for the Australians, but I am sure if he can come down a very similar line, he'll be looking for that jack, the movement of the jack, or sitting on the shot bowl.
Mentioning before that Philip maybe a slightly controversial selection. How much pressure will be on him to sort of perform well in this series, with teams like the Commonwealth Games team obviously being announced not far from now?
Yes, well, he's had 12 months away from international bowls, but one's got to remember that Philip played for New Zealand back in Pacific Bowls. I think in Hong Kong was his first outing for New Zealand, and that was 1991. He's played World Bowls in 92, so he has had significant international experience. He's only controversial to the point that probably he's been off the international scene for 12 months. I personally think he's very well deserving of his place in this New Zealand side. He is one of those players that can play most positions. The New Zealand selectors are looking to play him at the top end of teams at the moment, but Philip can easily settle into a 2 position and a 4. And he has the all-round ability to play the game more than better for New Zealand, I think, for a number of years. Meanwhile, Australia are starting to build a situation here. They hold a couple. Brassie has failed to change the head with his first bowl, and we're just watching him bowl breaking from right to left. Played it well indeed. He's played up a magnificent shot, Graham Brassie. Played up on the backhand and has sat the Australian shot bowl. New Zealand lie shot. Top shot that, Terry.
It was an excellent bowl from Rowan. He had that option there of sitting that bowl or looking for the movement of the jack, but that was an excellent bowl, and he played it to perfection.
Yes. I'll get another one there, Steve.
Cameron Curtis will be looking for a player similar sort of shot here, and he's possibly just looking a wee bit wide at the moment. He's starting to break into it now.
Back now, and he's played it.
Played it exactly the same as what Rowan did. That was an excellent bowl as well.
It continues to be just a similar shot for the Rowan Brassie. He's got to reach that Australian shot bowl. Bowl breaking from right to left, but he's well and truly under it there. He lost his line altogether. Australia holding shot on this, the 5th end of the 94 Trans-Tasman series, brought to you by SAS Insurance in association with the event sponsor Qantas Airlines. Philip Skoglund and Robbie Ball coming down to play their 2 bowls. Australia having scored on the last end, of course, means that Robbie Ball plays first. He's playing on his forehand, which would indicate, I think, that he's trying to play a position bowl. Clearly there may be 1 or 2 New Zealand bowls out to the right of the screen as we look at, and I'm sure that Philip will not be short in reaching the target. Well, whatever he was playing, he didn't play it with terribly much conviction, because he's finished well short of the head.
Yes, I think he'd be a little bit disappointed with that bowl, because he was certainly, the way he played that hand there, he was looking at trying to cover the New Zealand bowls that are around about a metre behind the jack. Australia has first and third shot, and New Zealand have got 2 or 3 bowls that are sitting around about a metre behind, and they will be looking to drag the jack through there.
There we've seen Philip Skoglund's first attempt, line very good. He was probably 6 inches under his target, and in terms of weight on this particular surface at the moment, that was a good shot.
Yes, he played it with excellent weight there. We could see those bowls. New Zealand have probably got about 4 bowls just sitting in behind there, and they'll certainly be looking at dragging the jack to that bunch there.
Robbie Ball, meantime, I think again is going to play position. He will be wary of the danger of any movement of the jack. Ball coming from the left to right as we look at it, and this time he's played it with more conviction because he's got through to reach those cropper New Zealand bowls, and as we can see at the 4 white dots there, if that jack did move out there, New Zealand would have 4 shots. Philip Scoggin will still be playing for it because he's 1 down. Any jack movement to that side of the screen will be in his favour.
He's looking to be down a similar line, Bill.
He's close. He's very close. He's very close indeed. He's played a marvellous bowl, Philip Scoggin. He's come up, he's set the Australian shot bowl for 1 shot on this, the completion of the 5th end. New Zealand go out to a 5-2 lead in the 94 Qantas Trans-Tasman pairs. That an excellent shot from Philip Scoggin. 1 down. He really didn't have much of a line to play, but played it to perfection to sit the bowl. Coverage today being brought to you in association with SIS, the SIS Summer Season of Bowls on Action Television, the 94 Qantas Trans-Tasman Series. First bowl of the 6th end in the pairs. Playing towards the clubhouse position, Rowan Brassey playing on his backhand and has drawn a very good first bowl, a foot in front of the jack. He'll be happy with that.
One of the interesting things, Bill, that has been mentioned to me is how long have they been playing this series, the pairs and the 2x2? Normally they used to play 4x4, and that is the international method of playing pairs, and it's interesting that we set the green out to international measurements and we are playing pairs under what we would probably commonly know as the Australian way.
Yes, Australian pairs is 2x2, played of course here in a number of major invitation events in New Zealand, the most well known of them probably being the William Grant pairs that's played in Auckland over the late January period. It is more of a shot game certainly than the 4x4, Terry, and you're involved in it a tremendous amount. To answer your question in terms of how long they've been playing it, this particular method, I'm afraid my background does not give me the opportunity to answer that. Cameron Curtis charging through on the backhand. He certainly played it with weight. He had to. He had a target, jack and bowl, and he's come through and dragged the jack back to that white chalk line. So Australia hold 1 shot. Philip Scoggin, he will play his backhand. As we watch it on screen, the bowl will break from right to left. He'll be looking to draw. He has plenty of room to do that. It's only a matter of weight and green this game, isn't it, Terry, at all levels?
Yes, if you get them both right, Bill, you're not going to be far away, are you?
No, and he's not far away either. His weight is almost perfect. He's just tucked away under the head.
It was excellent weight, really, and he's just a little bit tight on his line, but there is a bowl that's possibly in his draw there to some extent that he may just have to look at trying to come underneath it and perhaps sit on the Australian shot bowl.
There we see it. The Australian yellow disc bowl is shot. Philip Scoggin's bowl just coming into camera view on the left as we look at it. That will be second shot. Robbie Ball, meantime, will come down a similar line to Philip Scoggin. He's got the advantage of holding shot when he lets his bowl go. Always the confident position. He didn't play it with terribly much confidence because he's finished well short in the running, and that hand's starting to become somewhat blocked. So Rowan Brassey says to Philip Scoggin, change hands. come down here, Philip. There's still room. This particular bowl will come to you from left to right as we view it, and he's got a bit of weight on that. He's gone through, and in fact may well finish in the ditch. It hasn't. It's finished right on the running board. At the end of this particular end, that may well count, Terry.
Yes, it could well do, Bill. It's always handy to have something behind.
Robbie Ball sticks with the backhand and goes wide of that front bunch. And that is third shot. Did well from that angle to come in at the finish.
And the bowl that Philip Scotland had just played had just tippled into the ditch while that bowl was coming down the green, so that bowl's now put up on the bank and no longer plays any part in this end.
Yes, it sat there, but obviously the weight eventually toppled it in. Rowan Brassey, meantime, down his forehand. Bowl working from left to right. Looking to dead draw this. He's come underneath the front bowl and he's been undone for running, I think. Philip Scotland indicates it's close for shot. So angles can be deceiving. We know camber angles can certainly be deceiving.
Yes, it did come in there, Bill. It just didn't look as though it was really going to reach enough to get the shot, but I think that bowl may well be the shot. It's a little bit squarer onto the jack and would indicate that it possibly is the shot.
Terry Scott says it's square on. As you look at it, it's sitting virtually straight in front of the jack, 1.5 to 2 feet short. Just watching Cameron Curtis's delivery here, just to see how smoothly he gets it away. Bowl pointed well out in front of the hand, very straight, contact immediately, and it's on its way. He's also played his forehand. He's got his own bowl to reach. Again, he's played excellent weight. He has reached up to that New Zealand bowl, which was Philip Scotland's first bowl, which was sitting jack level. Rowan Brassey quickly into his work, which has become a common saying around this North East Valley Club in the last couple of days. Doesn't waste any time, Rowan, but possibly could have taken a little bit more time with that shot because he's narrow and he's short. Now we're going to see Cameron Curtis change hands on the backhand. Robbie Ball's asked him to play with weight to what he believes is the New Zealand shot bowl. It's on its way. He certainly won't be short of that weight factor. The bowl working from right to left as we view it on the screen. It's close, but he's going to get hooked up on a front one, and that's another New Zealand bowl which he's actually promoted up for the absolute shot. I'm sorry, it is an Australian bowl that's come through that header. It was sitting on the little white part of the disc. It's a little bit difficult to read the colours, but indeed they've achieved their objective. In fact, that has ended up a very good bowl for them because it's also tipped out the New Zealand bowl on the way through. 1, 2, 3. How would you look at it, Terry?
No, I think there's still only one shot. Although the New Zealand bowl did roll over, it still looks to be second shot, Bill. So New Zealand will want to be a little bit careful. They won't want to play too aggressive to that bowl because they have only the 1 second, and if they took that out, they could possibly be 3 or 4 down on the head. So it'll be interesting just to see what shot Philip Scotland will play here. He's certainly looking to line up on the backhand, and with what weight he'll play, this will have to be fairly well controlled.
We'll soon know because he's let it go. It's on its way down the backhand, and he's played it with a good 2 to 3 yards of weight. He's got to find the right holes. He's narrow, and again he's promoted another bowl.
It's a New Zealand bowl that came up.
And that's now made it a safer head for New Zealand in many ways because that's certainly second shot for New Zealand. and will clearly change Scoglin's thoughts in terms of his last bowl. There we see the Australian bowl as good as Jack level as we view it, with the white disc New Zealand bowl just in front of it, second shot. Cameron Curtis and Robbie Ball, meantime, with their backs to our screen, considering their options. How does the back look, Terry, in terms of any Jack movement?
Well, Australia do have the one bowl that's sitting in behind at the present time, and that is really only the only bowl over the head. We can see it there just at the bottom of your screen on the right hand side as you look at it. That is the only bowl that is over the head at the present time. So Australia are sitting all right, but I really don't think it'll change Philip Scotland's shot too much. He will be looking to play with some aggression down there, hopefully probably to catch on to the second shot of the New Zealand bowlers and promote that through onto the shot bowl. So they're in a better position now. They have got two on the head now, and that will allow him to play with a little bit more weight than what he possibly could the previous bowl.
Robbie Ball on his backhand. Cannoned off the bowl that was furthest up the head. Probably all it's ended up as a nuisance bowl.
It's become very much a nuisance bowl for New Zealand, and I think you probably really have to look at coming down on the forehand now. Certainly wouldn't be interested in playing through on the backhand as he did previously.
Well, Philip and Rowan have made up their mind. Philip Scoglin's gone back to the mat. He is going to play down on that forehand, so he's going to look for that that alleyway. We'll soon know. The bowl breaking from left to right as we view it on the screen. He got actually probably got wide in his line more than anything. He has promoted another bowl there, but that will make no difference to the count. It's still only one to Australia.
Promoted another New Zealand bowl there, Bill, and they're probably in the best position they've been on this head, but they've got no more ammo to fire at it.
Yeah, they've run out of ammunition. The 8 have been delivered. Looking at the completion of the 7th end, Robbie Ball, the Australian skipper, going back down the green to play his last bowl. Really don't think there's terribly much he can do to this to add to the count.
Not an easy head for Robbie Ball to get another shot here. It's fairly congested in the front.
Well, he's let it go on his forehand, and certainly has the weight to be in the target area. Channeled up on that front bowl, and it won't make any difference at all. Just the one to Australia. We've completed 6 ends in the 94 Qantas Trans-Tasman pairs. Bearing in mind, of course, that this is the 3rd test. The first 2 tests are banded through inclement weather. And there again, one of the more historic homes in the North East Valley area, an area that you know well, Terry.
Yes, no good.
Looking at the completion of the 7th end, Robbie Ball, the Australian skipper, going back down the green to play his last bowl. Really don't think there's terribly much he can do to this to add to the count.
Not an easy head for Robbie Ball to get another shot here. It's fairly congested in the front.
Let it go on his forehand, and certainly has the weight to be in the target area. Channeled up on that front bowl, and it won't make any difference at all. Just the one to Australia. We've completed 6 ends in the 94 Qantas Trans-Tasman pairs. Bearing in mind, of course, that this is the 3rd test. The first 2 tests are banded through inclement weather. And there again, one of the more historic homes in the North East Valley area, an area that you know well, Terry.
Yes, know very well, Bill, having lived here since around about 1974, and so I tend to know the area fairly well, Bill. It is a great area. It's a very popular area of Dunedin, and particularly these days with the university spreading out the way it is, it's probably becoming a lot younger people in the area now. It was a very old part of Dunedin originally, and has changed considerably, and we're getting a number of students living in the area now, and fortunately Bill taking up the game of bowls, coming on to North East Valley and trying it out.
We need plenty more of that. The sport nationally throughout the country. The average age bracket, particularly for the male version of the code, dropping rapidly. We had an instance in recent months of an 11-year-old boy up in the Kaitaia area finishing second in his club open singles, unheard of in years gone by, but it's a sport which we say is a game for a lifetime and a game for all ages, and certainly we are encouraging youth into the sport at all levels, as we watch a man who was particularly in that category when he first started playing for New Zealand. 1982, Rowan Brassey first played for his country, and then in his mid-20s, now at 38 years of age, having had the experience of 12 years of international bowls, that's what the sport can provide to you if you're good enough.
Yes, we certainly have seen a change, and if we ever look at New Zealand teams in the past, Bill, they were predominantly of older bowlers. That today we look at Peter Bellis, who is the oldest in the team, and he's still only in his 40s.
Yes, it gives encouragement to us all, Terry.
Hope for you yet, Bill, do you think?
I think my future may lie in the position that I'm in, to be quite honest, but Terry Scott, of course, comments man. Terry, a former New Zealand international, still a very competitive player here in the Dunedin area. And it's a matter of seasons. The seasons run for you or they don't run for you. You take your opportunities or you don't take your opportunities. New Zealand selectors, of course, now with a squad policy, a 10-man squad policy, and the first hurdle is to get to that squad for those 20 to 30 players that are in that group of top quality players throughout the country. A lot of comment when the New Zealand squad was first mooted 12 months ago, but I think having come through 3 or 4 training camps and having viewed what's being tried to achieve, I think most of the top players around the country now understand that they've got to get to that squad first up if they want to go on to play international bowls for New Zealand. Philip Skoglund, this the first bowl from him on the 7th end. Bowl breaking from right to left. Just finishing that couple of feet short, and you see the bowl just finally fall over on its arc. A little bit of breeze behind it.
Yes, we certainly can't complain about the weather, can we, Bill? We're underway now, and we've done all the complaints over the last couple of days, so I'm sure the players won't worry about a bit of breeze as long as the rain stays away.
No, it's in the distant past. Playing the 7th of 21 ends, and there you have a look at the Australian national flag as it is in '94. I think their Prime Minister's probably trying to change that pretty rapidly, but at the moment it qualifies.
I think both Prime Ministers are starting to look at it, Bill.
Yes, I see. Mr. Bulge has indicated that perhaps the year 2000 could see us become independent. I'm sure in the year 2000, no matter what happens politically, that we'll still be playing the Trans-Tasman series against Australia. As with most other sports in both sides of the Tasman, it is but the keenest of keenest contests. Cameron Curtis wouldn't be out of place in a representative rugby squad with the build that he has, Terry.
Yes, he's got a fairly good physique there, really, Bill, and as you said, he wouldn't be out of place. I'm sure he'd probably be right into the middle of that forward pack there somewhere.
Spates Otago could do with him. Gordon Hunter might make some form of offer, and New Zealand bowls mightn't be far behind it. Massive concentration, and here he's played the shot that they look for. He's come down on his backhand. He's set the New Zealand shot bowl, and Australia lie a couple. Brassey, meantime, following down a similar line. He'll be certainly looking to get a bowl in there somewhere, but Brassey will be disappointed with that because he's gone into that front bunch, and New Zealand have actually got enough there. They're probably 3 light on this particular end. Curtis similarly dropping well short with that bowl, just lost his concentration. Big bowl here from Brassey because New Zealand would be 3 light. Rowan Brassey playing his last bowl on this, the 7th end. Bowl working in from the right hand side of our screen. He's certainly in the target area, but he's going through those gaps that are there, and he's run on past that chalk line. Certainly hasn't altered the situation.
Yes, New Zealand would definitely be 2 down there, Bill, and just a little bit difficult. Yeah, probably is 3. It's just hard to say whether the one that is sitting behind the jack will become a shot. They're not really in that good a position, though.
Oh, there is room to get in there, though. It's a matter of line. It's not a matter of having bowls on the road, although this gentleman may try to alter that. First time out in an Australian team, so a big day for Robbie Ball, I'm sure. This time yesterday he was wondering if he'd actually ever wear the colours on the green, as we sat here with a North East Valley green completely underwater, the ditch is full up to the top of the bank, but that's in the past. Robbie Ball tracking his bowl down this particular head, gets down in his haunches, looks at it and watches it as he's moved. The jack, a superb shot, you see it roll back onto the jack.
Play down there again, play a bit quicker. You put some contact through there.
Terry Australia certainly with 2.
Robbie Ball's made an excellent head out of this now, and just by moving that jack, they've certainly got 2 shots. They're going to be a measure all round for probably the next couple, but yeah, they could have 4 even, Bill. They both come into account.
Yes, and the difficulty, of course, is he's put the jack in behind those front bowls, so that alters Philip Scoglin's line. He's playing a little bit blind to the head as he looks at it, so he's got to rely on Brassey's guidance. Bowl working from right to left as we look at it. He played it with the right type of weight. He had to be a little bit unlucky there. It's just that line beat him.
Yes, I don't think he had too much problem with his weight there, Bill. I think he's just really got to look at trying to catch in there on the bowl that's got the chalk on it as we look at it there, Bill. And he's just, by doing that, he's just got to skirt around the front bowl, the front New Zealand bowl. That he has that opportunity of turning up for a shot or reducing the count if he is a little bit tighter.
Bring out the best talk for you. 2 down, Steve. You can play in there. Get to there, get the shot.
Robbie Ball, he will play down his backhand, and all he'll be looking to do is add to the count, and it wouldn't be a bad bowl if he finished just somewhat short of that target area. And he's going to get hooked up on that front bowl, but gosh, that doesn't help Scotland. That's just widened the target, hasn't it?
It doesn't help him at all. He really needed to come through the line of where that bowl is lying now to reduce the count, and so it has made it a little bit more difficult. You may see Philip Scotland become a little bit more aggressive to this head, and the way Rowan Brassey is indicating at the moment is let's start looking at playing through this bowl here and see if we can get a result. They'll be looking at playing with enough weight so that if they get squarely onto one of those front bowls, they will follow through with their own bowl and hopefully get the shot. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. New Zealand has got bowls behind if the jack goes back.
Yes, well, you've heard the call from Terry Scott, and that certainly from our position looks to be the best alternative. Scotland, meantime, though, he's still got down as though he's playing on the backhand. He's going to stay the backhand in terms of line, but he will be playing with sufficient weight to promote one of those front bowls. Bowl's on its way. He looks tight in terms of line, the bowl ducking across the front of the head and wasting it slightly, just shakes his head. He'll be annoyed with himself, but you can't play them all. Rowan Brassey, meantime, has removed 3 bowls has removed them in a hurry, which indicates that he's sacrificed those. So New Zealand have certainly dropped at least 3. Cameron Curtis, meantime, moving around with the measure, looking to get more than the 3.
3 shots.
But it was the 3 that Brassey took out. Quick look from Rowan Brassey, made up his mind. He plucked the 3 out.
Just felt probably, Bill, that Philip was just a little bit cautious with his weight on that shot. I felt as though he probably should have played a little bit heavier and tried to get it to hold its line. With taking the weight off, it ducked away very quickly, particularly with that little bit of breeze that's coming across the green.
Yes, we've played 7 ends in the Qantas Trans-Tasman pairs of 94, and Australia have moved out to a 7-6 lead.
So we look at the screen there, Bill, we're looking up into the Opaho area. We're getting very near the Scott residence, way up the top there.
And closer to the Opaho Bowling Club. Certainly not wasting any time, Terry, in this pairs match. Our camera people and production staff, they're having to move with sufficient speed, and who said bowls was a slow game? It's an indication these players, they know what they're about. The mat's down as soon as the end's completed and they charge into the next one.
Yes, it certainly is good to see, Bill, that they are keeping the pace of the game up, and I think the players will be conscious too of the weather, and they'll be looking at the fact that, well, okay, let's get this game going, and we're pleased to be out here, but we don't want to be mucking around.
Bearing in mind, of course, that this pairs game played over 21 ends, so we're only just over a third of the way through the match. Cameron Curtis down on his backhand bowl, working from right to left. And played it pretty well too. He's Brassey, meantime, he'll be looking to work inside that Australian bowl, work inside it he does. Slap of the leg from Philip Scoglin. Rowan Brassey has drawn shot. Yes, and there we see some of the bowl supporters, the man in the blue with the beard, Alistair McMurran, the Otago Daily Times bowls reporter for a number of years. Great supporter of the support in the Dunedin area, and Alistair will be there. Tomorrow's paper will tell the story for those that are not here today. Ball, meantime, his bowl working right to left. He had the weight and almost the line to sit the Brassey shot. Bowl has gone well on through the head by 6 or 7 feet.
Just looking at the reaction from Robbie Ball there, I don't think he really intended to play with that much weight. I'm sure they'll be sort of looking to get another bowl on the head, and if they do get the result of sitting on the New Zealand shot bowl, whether that's in a bonus, but I'm sure Robbie wouldn't be intending to play with that much weight. Meanwhile, Philip Scoglin's played an excellent bowl. He's probably just turned Rowan Brassey's bowl out, and it may not be a counter, but he's got the shot which is closer than what it was before, and I think Robbie Ball will react to that one.
Yes, he's widened his grip on this particular delivery. He's playing with weight, and here he goes quickly into it. Driving and hitting absolutely square on. So we've had the second drive of the test. One from Philip Scoglin, which was wide. One from Robbie Ball, which was spot on.
Yes, we know very little about Robbie, but one of the things that I have heard over the past few days is he's an excellent driver, Bill, and that is one of his real strong points in the game.
Yes, well, he certainly proved that with that particular shot. As we say, conditions drying out all the time here, so underfoot it's becoming slightly more secure for the players.
You just see a quick little glance to the triples scoreboard there. New Zealand picking up 2 shots on the last end, so they're 6-5 behind in the triples.
And that's important for New Zealand because they dropped that 5 on the third end to go down 6-1 at that stage, and it's important to get back in the game. There we see it 6-5 after 6. They're playing the 7th end. Bearing in mind, of course, that the triples are played over 18 ends. Back to the game we're covering here, though, the pairs, and Cameron Curtis playing this, his first bowl on the 8th end, and I just have a feeling that there's a little bit of precipitation joining us again as Cameron Curtis draws absolute shot. eighth end, of course, being replayed. Robbie Ball having killed it. Cameron Curtis on the back end, a mess of concentration as he follows his bowl, and he's played ideally what Robbie Ball would like him to play. He's already got shot, and then he's got a bowl now, just a foot through the head.
That's what the skip loves to see, isn't it, Bill? Those two first bowls are good early settlers and set up the head for the rest of it, and they were excellent bowls there from Cameron Curtis.
Brassey, meantime, has come up and played an excellent bowl. He's sat the Australian bowl, which was jack level, sat it clean out through the head. New Zealand hole 1 as the pairs skips change. And there we see a little bit of those water that we've seen over the last few days. One hopes that that doesn't become any more consistent than what it is.
Close, Rob.
People right to left. Cameron says you're close, Rob, and you are very close, Rob, but he did not quite sit the bowl cleanly. He only got the rub off it, Terry.
Just got the rub off the edge of the bowl. If he caught it squarely, he would have just turned it out enough to stay there for the shot himself. But I can assure you the conditions aren't coming any easier, Bill. That shower is coming through there quite steady at the moment, and it's just making it a little bit more difficult for the bowlers to hold their bowl and get a good firm grip on it. Hopefully, Bill, it may be only just a passing one.
Yes, Scotland has got his jacket up around his face, playing down the forehand here, looking to play a position bowl, and he's got through to reach those Australian bowls, so he's played that pretty well.
Unfortunate thing is, Bill, that it will not take much rain for this green to go underwater again, and that's quite disappointing, really, because just a shower will make it very greasy and it'll start to lie very quickly.
Well, Terry Scott knows the circumstances because he, of course, is in charge of the greens here at North East Valley. So we live and hope as Robbie Ball has just slid through the head. And Brassey there quickly getting a rain jacket on. Scotland battling the rain as he comes down the green following his bowl. He has just gone through. He's slightly sliced the jack.
Moved the jack there, Bill, and unfortunately he may have given the shot away. He's just moved it to that Australian bowl that's sitting at the right of the screen as you look at it. And with that movement, I think that bowl will now become shot.
Yes, no question about that. We can also report to you that in our commentary position we have a somewhat slight leak through the canvas, so our commentsman Terry Scott is mop in left hand and microphone in the right. Spots on the camera as they look at it. There we see Terry getting rid of that. Cameron Curtis playing down his forehand. As you look at it from home, the bowl from left to right on the screen. The only thing that will undo him is his weight. His line was good. Australia holding shot. And this the eighth end. Rowan Brassey kitted out now with the white headgear. Phillip has a liking for this, but Phillip's liking is going to let him down, because whilst Rowan's line was good, he still finished a couple of feet short of weight.
Go up in there. Sit on, that's good.
Robbie Ball, he changes hands. He's playing down that backhand that Rowan Brassey has just come from. Curtis on the jog after his bowl. Ball has said just be inside it. He's certainly just inside it and has enough weight. He's almost set his own shot bowl out, Terry.
Yes, although I think he will be pleased with that, because it actually makes that bowl he's just played third shot now. New Zealand had 2 seconds and we're possibly going to be looking at attacking that shot bowl, which they may well still do. Philip Scoglin's calling it to come down on the forehand Rowan and take the place of that bowl. So they are going to attack it.
Oh, Brassey's attacked it. He nearly attacked the green as well, coming down the forehand. He's close. He's got the jack as clean as a whistle, and he's taken it right through to the drain. Well, second option, a smile from Brassey, Terry, but I presume he had that option.
He should adopt that delivery a bit more often.
Yes, indeed. When you saw them let the bowl go, if we can perhaps capture it on replay, you'll notice that Rowan Brassey slips there. He slips on the delivery, but it hasn't affected his concentration. He's in the line, down he comes, gets that jack clean as a whistle, through to the drain, bowl following the jack, and that will end up in a position almost unbeatable, I would think, because the way that bowl is following the jack into the drain, it'll sit right alongside it.
Yes, I think that will be an unbeatable shot, that one, Bill. It's there we are, we can see it there. It's sitting probably around about 9 inches to a foot away from the jack, so that is an excellent bowl.
Robbie Ball, meantime, has stepped out to deliver and done a very similar thing to Rowan Brassey, just slightly lost his footing.
It is unfortunate, Bill, because it makes the players mindful of that fact when they're going to step out, that they may slip, and it can just have an effect on their concentration, because they become aware of it, although he's played it pretty well here.
Tell you what, he's played a magnificent bowl for somebody that slipped on delivery. He's finished a foot short of the ditch. Just trying to get a camera angle for you that would indicate. There we see it.
Yeah, Rowan Brassey's just indicated he's one down there. That bowl that Robbie Ball just played is the shot bowl.
Well, in those circumstances, that's a marvellous bowl. Slipped on delivery, drawing to the ditch, and drawing shot. Philip Scogland looking to get the Australian shot bowl, playing on his backhand. Bowl working towards it. Close, and he's got it. Clean as a whistle.
Well, we've probably just seen bowls at its best, Bill. 3 excellent bowls there. The Rowan Brassey trail into the ditch, the draw shot from Robbie Ball, and the response from Philip Scogland there. That was an excellent shot.
Yes, a well-weighted shot in the conditions, not the drive. 3-4 yards of weight. There we see it onto the target, flicks the Australian bowl into the ditch. New Zealand hole shot. Robbie Ball has no option but to try and repeat his first. He's got to draw to the timber, literally. And of course the timber refers to the piece of wood that surrounds the green. Again, he is not a mile away, I can assure you. The bowl breaking to the ditch, and I would think he's repeated that shot, Terry.
Yes, Rowan Brassey's indicated remove that bowl, and it's probably worth a few shots to New Zealand too.
We've seen 2-3 excellent bowls from the skips on this particular end. You couldn't wish in the conditions to see better bowls than that. Philip Scogland.
Probably worth 3, Bill, I think.
A big bowl from the Palmerston North policeman. He looks wide, and he is wide, and that's just a little unfortunate. It was probably worth, as Terry Scott has said, 3 shots to New Zealand that bowl, but bearing in mind that you already had to do it once on this particular end, Curtis is measuring. And indeed he has conceded to Rowan Brassey, so whilst Ball's bowl was an excellent shot, it only was second shot. New Zealand Game 1, and it's all level, 6-all after 8 in the 94 Qantas Trans-Tasman Series, brought to you by Action Television in association with SIS. Terry Scott, another local Dunedin landmark.
Yes, that's Knox College by the look of it there, Bill. Theologian College, which is associated with the university as well. It's at the Gardens area of North East Valley, and certainly a fine building, one of the fine buildings of Dunedin. They have a number of old buildings like that, and it's a perfect example.
Time in the triples, the applause ringing out on the next rink because Peter Ballas has just driven through the head, got the jack as clean as a whistle and sits on top of it in the drain. We'll concentrate on the pairs match though. Cameron Curtis, he was disappointed with that delivery from the time he let it go. He just slapped Ryan Brassey delivering on his forehand, the bowl working from left to right on your screen. Left to right on your screen, a slap of the leg by Philip Skoglund. Excellent bowl, a foot under the jack. Cameron Curtis has come down on his forehand and has picked up the jack, shifting it beyond that initial chalk mark. Australia whole shot. Skoglund watching his first bowl on this, the 9th end, just short of weight hand green. Robbie Ball in his delivery. Terry looks to hold his the bowl very much in the palm of the fingers, the hand spread wide.
Yes, it is a palm delivery, Bill, and just interesting to note that when he does deliver it, he just delivers it with a little bit of a bump at times, and it must have some effect on his weight, but certainly a fine bowler, and has certainly proved it by being selected here for this Trans-Tasman Series.
Yes, when you consider the Australian side, the names of Ian Schubeck, Ian Taylor, Dennis Katunarich, names well known to New Zealand followers and to bowlers throughout the world, and they're not good enough to make this team according to the current selectors.
Yes, you mentioned Dennis Katunarich, and I just happened to be talking the other day to the President of Australia Bowls, Ron Tuckerman, who's telling me that their squad that's just been announced, I think it's a 12-man squad in Australia, a 12 or 14-man squad. Dennis Katunarich has been dropped from that squad, so that shows the calibre of bowlers that they have got in Australia.
Yes, Dennis Katunarich, another one of the West Australian boys, and he'd be disappointed in that because he's had an outstanding international career for Australia. Australians, of course, they've picked a 12-man squad to play a series of trials that's being played within the next 2 or 3 weeks when they get home prior to Commonwealth Games selection. So they certainly put under the microscope the Australian players to make that Commonwealth Games team.
And likewise the New Zealand players too, Bill. There's certainly a lot of pressure on them in this event here today to secure a spot for them in the Commonwealth Games team. I'm sure all 5 players here will make that team, but they'll be put under a tremendous amount of pressure, and if they don't perform, well, who knows?
Yes, indeed. That's probably one of the tragedies of losing the first 2 tests, and that they haven't had a greater opportunity to display their wares. Brassey, meantime, ball working left to right, and has come up and sacked the Australian shot bowl. New Zealand may still be 1 down, but they were 2 down before Brass, as he's known to to most followers throughout the country, played that bowl.
Yes, I think he would have been hopeful just to have got the jack with that one there, Bill, and take it through the ditch where they do have a back bowl. But nevertheless, he's made the head a lot better for them. They've given the Cameron Curtis and Robbie Ball and Philip Scoggin a bit more room to draw in there. So it'll be interesting just to see what can come out of it.
Cameron Curtis with a bit of room to draw, and that's exactly that he'll be looking to do. Playing on his forehand, ball working from left to right on our screen.
Well weighted.
He's well weighted. He just got a bit of running at the finish there. He slipped through beyond Brassey's bowl. Australia still holding shot, and Cameron decides that it's time to take the top jacket off. We'll get down to the Australian one underneath it. Rowan Brassey, meantime, his third bowl on this, the ninth end. And Brassey again just undone for weight and green.
A bit disappointed with that bowl, Rowan there. He dropped well short of it after giving himself a little bit of room with his first bowl.
Just doesn't change the expression on his face, this fellow, does he, Terry?
Never changes. No, he keeps the same expression all the way through. Played an excellent bowl. Just turned up the front bowl of New Zealand this year, I think, Bill, was it?
Yes, he did. He was just slightly under his line, and he set the New Zealand bowl over once, and New Zealand certainly lies shot now. We've been going an hour and a half in this pairs clash at the 94 Qantas Trans-Tasman Series. They've played 8 of the 21 ends. We're watching Philip Scoggin delivering his third bowl.
Certainly appears to be on a good line as it's coming down, Bill.
It does. It's a matter of weight, Terry, and his weight's pretty good too. Rowan Brassey breaks out in applause. Philip Scoggin has drawn the absolute shot. Bowl finishing 9 inches to a foot in front of the jack.
Yeah, that was a great bowl, Philip Scoggins. They did need to get another bowl on the head. It's probably just a little bit unfortunate where it's sat, because it does give it a little bit of a target, but they needed a bowl there.
As you look at it there, the 2 white disc bowls of New Zealand, they're the closest to that white object, which is the jack, which is what the game is all about. Australian bowl slightly to the left of those two would be third shot. Curtis and Ball having a fairly long consultation over this. Not an easy shot for Robbie Ball, Terry.
No, I just don't really know as to what weight that they will pick to play to that, Bill. It's not an easy shot. They will certainly probably swing down on the forehand, looking at the idea of perhaps clipping the second shot of New Zealand and getting on to the shot itself, because they have got the next 3 to 4 bowls after that.
Looking almost for the split, one would think. Well, we're watching Robbie Ball there. You can see his 4 fingers and thumb spread well across that bowl. He's going to play down here with weight. He'll be looking, I would think, to split those 2 shot bowls of New Zealand's. Certainly playing with plenty of weight. Line's good. Gets onto the shot bowl, springs it out. We'll see the shot again on the replay from Robbie Ball. He played that with a lot more weight than we would have predicted from here. Here it is. Gets onto the front bowl, pushes that through the head, then sits onto the jack. Just reaching the jack near there on the replay, pushing the jack back to the Australian bowl,
then across to the New Zealand bowl, Bill. So it's close for who's got shot there. New Zealand certainly got plenty of bowls in the area, and if they are one down, I think that they will play to that bowl.
Yes, probably a similar shot from Philip Scoggin. He's certainly played it with his weight. Robbie Ball has. He's playing down on his forehand, the bowl working from left to right on your screen as we look at it. He's going to slip past the head. I think New Zealand would hold shot there, Terry, would they not?
Yes, I think they may well do, Bill. They've got that option of trying to sit that other bowl through, the Australian bowl, and make shots out of it, but they want to play it at the right weight because the Australians do have a bowl in the ditch which is a toucher.
Yes, well again it's consultation. There you see it, the bowl at the left of the jack and slightly in front of it, that's the New Zealand bowl, that's shot. The yellow disc bowl behind it is the Australian bowl, which is second shot. New Zealand as it stands at the moment, if Cameron Curtis would get out of the road, certainly have third shot.
Discussing their options, Australia. They want to be careful here. They won't be wanting to take their own bowl out.
No, because that could well leave them 2 or 3 light. And yet the encouraging thing to do would probably certainly to be reach through that to try and sit the jack in the drain, because Australia have that bowl.
I think they'll probably look at trying to come down tight on the backhand, perhaps, Bill, for the shot bowl, or follow through and get that jack, and that will then leave their own bowl with a little bit of protection from the front ones.
Well, they've had the consultation period, and that's probably the longest that we've had in the game so far, so clearly they've had a good look at it. Robbie Ball shaping to play on the backhand. And he's playing with that couple of yards of weight, so his line's going to have to be perfect. The bowl working from right to left.
He's going to slip underneath, I think.
He's going to slip just underneath it. New Zealand finish up with shot. We've played 9 ends, and New Zealand have got back in front in the 94 Qantas Trans-Tasman pairs. The pairs of the third test here underway at the North East Valley Club in Dunedin after, of course, the first 2 days were washed out. 48 hours of torrential rain throughout the Dunedin area prevented play on the first 2 days. We're underway here though on day 3. It is the third test they're playing. We're covering the pairs in this, the SIS summer season of bowls at the 94 Qantas Trans-Tasman. There we can see the strength of the breeze at the moment by that particular shot of the flag. Rowan Brassey just checking himself on the mat as the breeze just got through the top shoulders.
Interesting to note, Bill, there's been a change of tactics. New Zealand have brought the mat up, and they've thrown brought the mat probably close to right up to the maximum length, probably about a metre short, and have thrown the jack to the full length. So it'll be interesting. This is the first time that we have had the mat up that far, so it'll be interesting to see how the players adapt.
Yes, we'll get a wide-angle shot of that. There we see how far the mat is from the ditch. It's, as Terry Scott has said to you, almost out to maximum length. Brassey has thrown the jack within the correct distance, but he certainly hasn't thrown his first bowl within the correct distance. That's gone through 3 to 4 feet. He'll be looking to correct with this his second. Cameron Curtis, meantime, has drawn shot with his first. Brassey on line, which has just put him outside the Curtis bowl, and indeed his weight has taken him right through to the drain. So whilst Brassey's tactics might have been right, he actually didn't carry out the plan of getting a bowl right on top of the jack.
So you certainly won't be happy with those 2 bowls.
Curtis, meantime, continues that study of concentration, draws another very good shot, a couple of feet through the head. Still plenty of room for both skips in this early stage of the 10th end, but as you go back to the mat, Terry, it's nice to be having 2 rather than being 2 down.
Yes, it makes you feel that a little bit more comfortable, and of course the last time I said that, I think Philip Scotland got down and drew the shot, so let's only hope that for New Zealand's sake he can do it again.
Yes, Philip's going to continue the backhand line. He's working right to left as we see it, and he, like Brassey, is just outside the line of the head, and he goes through to the ditch, so they're certainly just having a little bit of a battle with their weight. Robbie Ball. Cameron Curtis, you would have heard him say good ball, Rob, and it is a good ball because he's gone through to that backer bowl of on this particular end. Australia holding 3 shots. Again, there's plenty of room, but having said there's plenty of room, you've still got to play it. Philip Skoglund, his second bowl on this, the 10th end. Bowl working from right to left, but he's short. Hasn't quite got the weight. Brassey puts his hands together, more an encouragement. Australia certainly 2, probably 3 still.
Oh, here's from Robbie Ball, but he puts the jack up. He just slipped
Through it. All going for him. If he'd got the jack clean, it would have transferred it over to the 2 bowls.
Sure, they'll be happy. They've got 3 shots there at the moment, so good head for the Australians at this stage.
Ryan Brassey's changed his hand. He's playing the forehand, or as we look at it on the screen, the bowl working left to right.
Got the option of turning the Philip Skoglund bowl in if he's playing on that hand, and once again, unfortunately, he's a little bit heavy and he's going to run through to near the ditch again.
Yes, well, New Zealand has certainly got the backest bowls on this particular head, but they've got nowhere near it to take, nothing on the head to take advantage of that. Robbie Ball. Time just coming down on his backhand. He's playing to Brassey sticks with his forehand. The option, as Terry has said to you, to either promote the front bowl, draw around it for shot. His line is a little bit better here, and he's going to come through and he's going to drag the jack, and he's played it very well indeed. He has rescued a head from where New Zealand were 2 or 3 down, and I think main ally shot, Terry.
He's certainly changed that head around drastically. That bowler Rowan's coming in just a bit tighter line than what he previously had, has come through, picked up the jack, and it's gone through for the shot. So Australians will now probably have a little bit of discussion about what they're going to do here. New Zealand have 1 shot, but Australia has 4 seconds in the situation, so it'll certainly be interesting to see with what sort of weight they do play to this head. I'm sure that they'll start looking for that shot bowl. As we said earlier, New Zealand has the back ones. There's not many of them there, but they have the back ones, but Australia will be looking for the shot bowl.
Cameron Curtis on his backhand, he'll be looking to remove the New Zealand shot bowl. Plays it with that very solid weight. Bowl working right to left, and he's going to slide through the hole.
Just glancing across at the triples there, Bill, another interesting development over there. We recall back in the 3rd end where Australia got a 5 to go 6-1 in front, and from that stage was all New Zealand. They come back with singles and head them off at 7-6, but unfortunately dropped another one of those 5s and are now 11-7 down.
Yes, well, I had the feeling there seemed to be a bit of silence from that rink you're playing the last end, and that's always an indication that things are not what they could be from New Zealand's point of view. We'll concentrate on the pairs though, as Philip Skoglund delivers his second to last bowl on this, the 10th end. We can hear Ryan Brassey saying you're coming pretty well, Philip, and he's certainly getting in the target area. Still would be 2 to 3 feet short. Chance here for Australia though to score and score well if they can get rid of that New Zealand shot bowl. For a man playing his first test, Terry, Robbie Ball is looks a very composed sort of a character.
Yes, he certainly does, Bill. He's displayed the qualities as if he's been in the team for some considerable time, and it certainly hasn't ruffled him having to wait around a couple of days to earn his first test cap.
Here he is playing with weight on the backhand, looking to get the New Zealand shot bowl. And he has sat it out clean, but in doing so, the New Zealand bowl has splashed the jack into the ditch.
And the toucher bowl actually came through with it, and New Zealand are holding 2 shots as indicated by Rowan Brassey there. So the bowl that Robbie Ball hit was Rowan Brassey's toucher. It's gone through with the jack to the ditch. It will probably be the shot itself. We see 2 bowls sitting on the edge of the ditch, one of them which is the New Zealand one, closer to the jack, and then there's an Australian bowl. Philip Scoggin with his last bowl.
He's looking to add. He's playing down on the forehand. The head having changed for him quite dramatically. He's just going to be too much weight and drops into that drain, as we commonly refer to it in the game. The ditch, as it should move more correctly to him. Here's the shot from Ball as he comes down on the backhand, looking to sit the New Zealand bowl clean out of the head. He gets the bowl, but it pushes onto the jack. The shot bowl goes through with it, bearing in mind it was a toucher. And New Zealand have a couple. The ball again playing with weight to the 2 bowls that are actually sitting on the green. He's wide of the target area, comes off another bowl and drops in the ditch. New Zealand they've picked up a couple, Terry.
Yes,
There we see a wide-angle shot of the North East Valley clubhouse, and there are many people inside there, I can assure you, enjoying the warmth and comfort of that clubhouse, and I don't blame them. And the conditions outside somewhat breezy, chilly, with the odd shower passing through. That's the best spot to be.
yes, there's Alan Lawless, the great follower of bowls in Dunedin, sitting on the right-hand side of the screen. You look at it there. Former New Zealand president, Alan, and from the Kaikoura Club, but a great stalwart of bowls and follows a lot of bowls.
The action's outside as the players have to ignore the conditions and get back into the concentration mode. They're playing the first bowls of this, the 11th end. The 94 Qantas Trans-Tasman pairs, third test. New Zealand out to a 9-8 lead, having picked up a couple of shots on the 10th end. Rowan Brassey watches his second bowl on this, the 11th, come down, and he'll be disappointed with that. He's finished 3 to 4 feet short.
9-8 or 9-6 there, Bill?
Just trying to get an elbow out of the road so I can actually confirm that it would actually be 9-6 to New Zealand, because there was 7-6 up playing the 10th. They got a couple more on that end to move out to 9-6.
Well, the leads have completed their bowls, Bill, and they're certainly just a little bit struggling there. Robbie Ball just walking down the green, once again just having a wee slip, so continuing down that patch down there seems to be causing a little bit of problem, not only for the bowlers walking on it, but for the bowlers themselves. They just don't seem to be getting so close down there.
No, well, Terry, nobody would know the green better than you do, and just a couple of bare patches there where this particular end's being played.
Been a very heavy season this year for bowls at the North East Valley Club, Bill, and the green has had a lot of wear, and unfortunately the condition hasn't been ideal. The weather conditions haven't been ideal for greens this year. We've had a tremendous amount of rain, and then we have days where we get some nice days and the rain comes again. But nevertheless, the green is in tip-top condition, but unfortunately just when there is a little bit of moisture, a couple of spots become a little bit slippery.
Yes, well, while Terry's been describing his home track to you, Philip Scoggin's taken advantage of plenty of room on this end to draw the absolute shot, and he's got in there ahead of Robbie Ball, and that's important because there was plenty of room, and in those situations, first to the jack quite often stays that way.
Yes, you've certainly got to grab your opportunities when the heads are a little bit loose, and try to assert a little bit of dominance, getting the shot there, and depending where the bowl finishes, though it may be shot, it can be quite a nuisance to the opposition player, and the situation we've seen here where Philip Scoggins really played 2 good bowls on this end, they're both counting, and the head starts to become a little bit more difficult for the Australians to get into.
Yes, Robbie Ball with no option but to try and draw it. He chases his bowl down the head. The bowl works from right to left as we look at it. Played it well, but he's just under his weight. Philip Skoglund indicates that we've still got one round. Brassy down the backhand as well. Again, the bowl working right to left, and he's played this pretty well. He's going to get on to Skoglund's bowl, pushes it through for the absolute shot, stays there himself for second.
It's a good bowl there from Rowan, and just tightens the head up a little bit more.
And that last bowl of Brassy's quite a protection bowl on that head too, Terry, because it makes it difficult for the Australians to get in there.
Well, what it's done is it's forced Cameron Curtis onto the forehand. He's got the option there, of course, of promoting his own bowl, the bowl that's in front of the jack. He's got that chance there, but he's had to make a change of hand, and it'll be just interesting to see how well he adapts to this.
Playing the forehand, working off one of the Australian bowls, but working through the head, so New Zealand still holding a couple. Brassy, of course, will look to add to that. Plays down on his backhand. Again, he's in that target area. He's going to comes across the front of the head, moves the jack slightly, and
it was a good bowl from Ryan Brassy. He's probably just made it a little bit tighter again as he's moved the jack back from those bowls, and it's becoming increasingly harder for the Australians to get into this head here. Probably what he has done is made 3 shots out of it, and so Australians just really a little bit lost as to what they're going to play.
Well, Robbie Ball has said to Cameron Curtis, come down the forehand, making sure you reach it, either promoting one of their bowls in the running or sitting the shot bowl. He's got to play the absolute line and weight here because the target is not great, and he's very close to doing what Robbie Ball asked him to do, but he didn't quite have the weight for the shot, Terry.
Yeah, look, he was on an excellent line there. It was a good bowl, but he probably really needed about another 2 feet, 3 feet of weight to promote that bowl. Alternatively, he was trying to just slip around and sit on the New Zealand shot bowl, but unfortunately, it's getting difficult for the Australians, and if New Zealand can pick up a 3 here, I think that's going to be the break that will make the winning of this game.
Yes, well, we could be watching the most important end to date in this pairs clash, because New Zealand have 3 good shots. Philip Skoglund with his second to last bowl, playing the backhand and looking, I think, to get round the back of the head. They've obviously worked out that the 3 they've got are worth hanging on to. And Ryan Brassy,
he's happy with that bowl, so they were wanting one over there.
And that's exactly what they've got. Well, the 38-year-old West Australian in his first Test series, facing his first real test of this particular match, because he's 3 down on the head, he's 3 down on the board. They're playing the 11th end, just over halfway through the game, but you can't afford to let those gaps creep out too far. He continues to play the forehand. He's looking to promote his own bowls, perhaps not for shot, but certainly for second to save the end. He's on a very close line for this.
Edge off that bowl and he can get the shot out of this.
And he's played it to absolute perfection, because he has come off one of his own bowls and has ended up sitting in front of the head for shot. There we see it. Ryan Brassy's indicating to Philip Skoglund that perhaps that bowl can go out clean. Do you think we'll see him attack that, Terry?
Yes, he'll definitely be attacking that. I would. It doesn't really matter what hand he plays it on. He's going to be playing a fairly well-weighted shot through there, and that bowl he'll be looking at hitting it on the front edge so as it can go between the other bowl, the New Zealand bowl, and the jack. So he's probably got 4 second shots here.
Here we see Philip Skoglund on the drive. Only the second drive he's had in the whole game. He's lined it up. He's let it go. It's on its way. Wide of the target completely, and Philip would be slightly disappointed with that. this on replay. There it comes down on the left-hand side of the screen, but well wide of the target. So Robbie Ball has done what was asked of him. He has saved the head by getting at least shot. He still has a bowl to play. It would appear somewhat difficult to get any more out of it, but they're certainly looking as though they're going to try that.
I think they'll be very cautious of what they do here. They've got the shot, and that's all they need at the moment, but New Zealand bowls all around it can make it terribly dangerous for them if they happen to play just a little bit offline and turn the New Zealanders in for the shot. But I think the way they were talking, Bill, is that they will look at coming on the backhand and just try and come underneath the front bowls so as they can sit on the second shot.
Certainly Robbie Ball is playing the backhand. He's playing no more than slightly over the draw weight. He looks to be narrow, and I don't think he's played that shot with terribly much conviction. He's
The smile on his face indicated that he was happy to come out of it with the shot, so that's kept them in the game.
12 ends gone in the SIS summer season of bowls. We're covering the 94 Qantas Trans-Tasman Test Series. It's day 3 of the test, and we're watching the pairs featuring Rowan Brassey of New Zealand leading for Philip Skoglund, and Cameron Curtis of Australia leading for Robbie Ball. And as we say, after 12 ends, it's 9-7 to New Zealand. As to be expected, Terry, a tight game each end.
Yes, it certainly was, Bill, and the way the game has gone, I think we can see it right to the end that this is going to be a very closely contested match, and if New Zealand hadn't have held on to those 3 shots, then I think it would have made a huge difference in the game. We would have seen New Zealand go out to about a 6-point lead, and in this sort of competition, 6 points is very, very valuable. But nevertheless, back into the game, and at this stage, there's 2 points apart. Good to see the New Zealand triples pick up a 3 on the last
test. And we're watching the pairs featuring Rowan Brassey of New Zealand leading for Philip Skoglund, and Cameron Curtis of Australia leading for Robbie Ball. And as we say, after 12 ends, it's 9-7 to New Zealand. As to be expected, Terry, a tight game each end.
Yes, it certainly was, Bill, and the way the game has gone, I think we can see it right to the end that this is going to be a very closely contested match, and if New Zealand hadn't have held on to those 3 shots, then I think it would have made a huge difference in the game. We would have seen New Zealand go out to about a 6-point lead, and in this sort of competition, 6 points is very, very valuable. But nevertheless, back into the game, and at this stage, there's 2 points apart. Good to see the New Zealand triples pick up a 3 on the last end, and they've only fallen 2 points behind in that game now. So 2 very, very closely contested matches, both very crucial to the outcome of this Trans-Tasman series, because if New Zealand happens to win both of these, Bill, I mean, they'll retain the championship trophy.
Indeed, yes, having won it the last 3 years in a row, of course all New Zealand have to do is to actually square this particular match, and they retain that trophy. And after all, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's all about Trans-Tasman supremacy, and New Zealand would be well satisfied with that. We're covering the pairs, of course, on the adjacent rink. The triples are being played, and then later in the day we'll bring to you the clash of the 2 giant single players, Robbie Perella of Australia and Gary Lawson of New Zealand. They'll play singles while the 4s fight it out on the adjacent rink, bearing in mind that the test series is decided over 4 disciplines: singles, pairs, triples and 4s. Triples and pairs being played first, the singles and 4s to come to you this afternoon.
So we look down to the south there, Bill. The sky looks to be clearing, and looks as though we're going to be going through the rest of the day in, I won't say fine weather, but better weather than what we've had.
Yes, most certainly. That blue sky is a very welcome sight. Not just to the bowlers involved in this test series, but I'm sure to the people of Dunedin, because they've had a fair old drenching in the last 2.5 days. Robbie Ball, meantime, his first bowl on this, the 12th end, playing from a position where Australia possibly just hold shot at the moment on measure.
Played this well, Robbie Ball.
Yes, he has indeed. He's faded across the front of the head to end up jack level, and certainly the shot.
Scotland coming down a similar track to what Robbie Ball had. I don't know if he's just got the same amount of weight. He hasn't. He's just fallen that little bit short. Australia definitely got one shot, possibly two.
He's just slightly under his weight. Ball with his bowl breaking from left to right, but he's wide of the target. Australia still holding the shot. Meantime, in the triples, Terry, New Zealand may have picked up a couple more to tie it up at 11 all.
Yes, they had an excellent head there. They'd actually laid 3 shots, Bill, and Steve Anderson with last bowl came between one of the shots and the jack, just one of them out, but New Zealand retained 2, and 10 ends of the 18 end game gone in the triples. It's 11 all.
So both matches couldn't be closer. It's 9-7 after 11 in the pairs. It's 11 all after 10 in the triples. The pairs, the best of 21. The triple scoreboard, as we look at it there at the moment, the best of 18 ends. Stuart Butter, Gary Lawson and Peter Bellis, the New Zealand triple. Rob Perella, Steve Shroy and Steve Anderson, the Australian triple. And you couldn't get 3 better combinations than that. And the scoreboard indicates just how close it is as well. Curtis, again that expression of absolute concentration as he delivers his second to last bowl on this particular end. He's finished short in the draw though. Rowan Brassey meantime, his bowl working in towards the head and actually drew around the back of the head. Still hasn't altered the count.
He's held the count at all, Bill. Australia still lying 2 shots there. New Zealand getting them close, but on this end, just not quite close enough, and the Australians holding 2.
Standard of bowls, Terry, in the conditions, as one would expect, quite outstanding.
These have been excellent bowls, Bill, and we think back to the fact that these players haven't been on a green since Thursday afternoon, and they were playing in totally different conditions then in Greece to what it will be now, and they have adapted tremendously well this morning and are playing excellent bowls.
Rowan Brassey, meantime, his last opportunity on this end to change the count so far as New Zealand are concerned, but he's wide of that. He's through to the back, and indeed Australia hold 3 in the end. They're all a couple of feet away from the jack, but they're still counting.
Yes, they hold 3 there. That last bowler, Cameron Curtis, just came around the wing bowl to score another shot, so they're lying 3 shots there, and that's what's counting at the moment.
There we're looking at the head as we look at it from the position that Robbie Ball sees it at the moment. That's how he views it.
New Zealand is going to see it from that same position too, Bill, and I don't think it looks very good looking at it from that end.
No, I'm sure it looks a lot better for Robbie Ball than it does for Philip Skoglund, who's still to go down and play his.
Robbie Ball on his backhand this time. I think he'll be looking to try and come around the head to cover the back bowls. New Zealanders have got possibly the 3 back bowls, and Robbie Ball certainly looking to come around there because if I'm thinking right, Philip Skoglund certainly won't be short of it. I don't think he'll be driving it all, but he'll be certainly wanting to reach the head, catch on one of the shot bowls, or move the jack.
Yes, it's a matter of how many holes are there and how they work for you with this particular shot, because he's got to have weight to be there, and the risk he runs, of course, is running right through the head. But we'll soon know. It's playing down in his forehand. He's playing down on his forehand, and he's playing wide of the target. He's slipping through to the back.
I think he was playing it with the right weight. He had to be that weight to get caught in there. It's not an easy shot because, as we can see there is a number of holes, and so often those bowls find the holes, and so he'll be wanting to catch in on the shot bowl, move the jack through, and reduce the count.
So on his back end, Robbie Ball, this his last bowl on playing up on the back end. Enough weight to sit on the bowls, but I don't actually believe that was...
Robbie Ball was not happy with that bowl, and I don't blame him. He didn't play that well. What he did is come into the head and turned the possibly the fourth and the fifth shot over, Bill, and they were both New Zealanders, and that's changed it around quite dramatically. New Zealand have now got a bowl in there that is either in the measure for shot or definitely in the measure for second shot, so I don't think Robbie Ball would have been very happy with that one at all. They had a great head there, and he's changed it dramatically.
Yes, well, the classic case of just being slightly narrow. Weight is difficult on this holding green, but line is critical, and he was slightly under it and promoted a front New Zealand bowl.
Yes, I really think that Robbie was probably looking at putting another ball behind the head, and he did. He played it extremely tight, and he's paid the penalty for that.
Philip Scotland, meantime, he's had a look, he's gone down, he's played his last bowl, but he's wider than he was with the previous one. So now it becomes a matter of what actually is the situation on the head. We'll see Cameron Curtis get down and measure. He will
measure the New Zealand bowl first and then run around the three Australian ones and find out the result.
There we see him going around all the bowls. That's Rowan Bressy's now going to check it. He will go to the New Zealand bowl first.
Cameron Curtis has indicated that they've got one, so that could have been a costly bowl from Robbie Ball.
Yes, would have taken them to an actual lead in the game at 10-9. Scotland did not alter the head with his last bowl. As it stands now, Australia still will be one behind, because if it is as we're reading it, they've only got the one, it'll be 9-8. Bressy very long over this measure. It's obviously a lot closer than it looks on screen. It's indeed, Bressy's not satisfied. He has called the umpire out. So for the first time in this clash, the umpire will come to decide shot bowl.
Umpire Jack Tobin from the Opaho Club.
Which my understanding of Dunedin geography, Terry, is just up the top of the hill.
Yes, not too far away from North East Valley Club, and has a close friendship with North East Valley. Opaho Club does, and small club which has got probably one of the most beautiful settings definitely in Dunedin, if not in New Zealand, for a bowling green. It's in amongst the trees above the Woodhaw Garden, or no, sorry, above the botanical garden. So beautiful little club, membership of around about 40, and Jack Tobin, international umpire, he comes from there.
Yes, when it gets to this situation, it's obviously very close. Rowan Brassey, very experienced. He measured 2 or 3 times before he decided that he could not make up his mind on it. And I think we've just seen there a slight jack movement, which has left the umpire with no option but to declare the head literally invalid.
Yes, what happened then was it appeared as though when the umpire lifted the measure that it may have just slightly moved the jack. As a consequence of that, the head becomes dead, and what he did do is it does actually count as an end played, because he declared that he could not find a result. So it's quite interesting there, Bill. We could have had the situation that if it was declared dead, should they have perhaps replayed it?
There we see Terry Scott will talk you through it.
He's measuring there. That's the yes. What he did then was when he picked that measure up, it just moved it, and he must have a second thought about that there. Yes.
Well, it can happen in the best of circumstances, and we've just seen it happen in an international. Perhaps the hands were cold, Who knows? But
Jack must have been a little bit nervous sort of appearing in his first test as well.
It's may well be the case, but I'm sure the players, whilst they've taken it with the best of intent, they'll be disappointed because in terms of the game, it's counted as an end played.
Yes, because what he did do is said that he couldn't make a decision on who had the shot, so therefore it's declared both bowls were equal distance apart from the jack, and it becomes an end played. We could have had the situation really, I think if he moved the jack, it possibly should have been declared a dead end and no end would be recorded as being played. But, well, as they say, read about it in the paper tomorrow and look at the scoreboard now, 12 ends gone.
Just a slight element of controversy in the Qantas Trans-Tasman for 94. However, in the true spirit of bowls, and it is played in a good spirit, the players have accepted it, they've got on with it, there's no further comment, and Cameron Curtis has just proved his point by drawing inside an already good shot that Rowan Brassey held to gain the shot back.
Yes, it certainly didn't have an effect on these leads. They have responded by playing, well, 3 excellent bowls. Rowan Brassey, a great bowl from Rowan Brassey, comes through. He held the shot with his first bowl, which was about a foot from the jack. Cameron Curtis with his second drew the shot in front of his, and Rowan responded with his second bowl by moving the jack, trailing the jack back, retaining the shot, and an excellent looking head.
Yes, they've started probably the highest standard of lead bowls for the last 3 or 4 ends. Qantas 94 Trans-Tasman Test Series, Australia versus New Zealand. The first venture by Qantas into sponsorship of bowls in New Zealand. They have been big supporters of the sport in Australia with, of course, the Qantas Jack High Series, but this Trans-Tasman Series of 94 represents their first foray into the New Zealand market. We welcome them and we look forward to what we hope will be a long-term partnership.
Yes, a big head here in the triples over here too, Bill. I think Peter Bell has played an outstanding bowl, and just the way that Rowan Brassey sort of held his chest there. Steve Anderson was having a run at it. It could have been worth a few, but they scored one. New Zealand going to the front. I think possibly first time since in the game, Bill.
Yeah, indeed, Terry. 12-11 after 11 in that adjacent triples match as we still follow the pairs on rink 1 in front of us here. And New Zealand, of course, 9-7 up there after 12. So at the moment, New Zealand ahead in both of them. And manager and chairman of selectors Mel Morrison, that will be a pleasing position for him. Still a long way to go, though, of course. The pairs have 9 to play, the triples have 7 to play.
New Zealand working themselves into not a bad position on this head too, Bill. Since Rowan Brassey moved that jack back, it's just become a little bit harder for the Australians, and Philip Scogden responded with his first bowl by putting himself into a position where he's possibly got another shot, and Robbie Ball didn't play with any sort of conviction at all when he played his last bowl. In fact, he played it so narrow it went right out the rink, and Philip Scogden responded by drawing another shot. So New Zealand possibly lying 3 shots on this head, and will make it interesting.
Yes, it's one of those ends, although it may not look it on your screen, which is difficult to get at from the Australian point of view, because they don't actually have any bowls within the adjacent distance of the jack. However, Ken, this young man will not want for effort. He's playing down his forehand as he lets the bowl go. As we watch it from home, the bowl will work from left to right on your screen.
In the area to get onto his own bowl, is it?
He has got onto his own bowl. He's pushed it through. And that's how you get out of the situation.
That was an excellent bowl there from Cameron Curtis. He played that with perfect weight to promote his own bowl there, and it went through, picked up the jack, and that's now the shot bowl. So it was a great bowl from Cameron Curtis. 3 down, and Bill, I dare say that's why they're out here and we're up here, isn't it?
May well be the case, but that's a matter of opinion, Terry.
Good if you get to there, mate. Good. How far there? Ball's 2 foot in front of Jack.
Having rescued the head for Robbie Ball, Cameron Curtis now changes hands, and he'll be looking to add to the count. Bearing in mind, when he stepped on the mat the first time in this end, he was 4 down. Now he holds shot in that very good position where all he has to do is add to it, playing on his backhand. Looking to be slightly narrow as we view it, and he is. The ball cuts across the front of the head and indeed did not have the weight either, so the change of line just a little hard for Cameron to pick up there. Philip Scoggin meantime says, Rowan, you only need a foot on your last. That foot meaning a foot of weight to ensure that he reaches the desired target area.
Yeah, not a bad line too, Bill, actually, going down there. Going to be very handy.
Line's very good indeed. It's just whether his weight is great, and his weight is very good indeed. That's an excellent bowl from Rowan Brassey. Really playing to a wide open target there, and with the change of length. But Brass, full of concentration, threw it out to have the absolute weight to bring the bowl home for shot.
He didn't have a lot of room there, that Jack sitting around about 18 inches to 2 feet from the ditch, and so he didn't really have a lot of room to between the Jack and the ditch to sit, but he displayed the skills that he has done in the past and drew the shot.
Rowan Brassey this year in Auckland Bowls, Terry having an outstanding season. He's in the final of the Open Singles. He's in the final, he's in the last 4 of the Champ Singles. He's in the final of the Open Pairs. He has had a quite outstanding season within Auckland Bowls, and certainly continuing it here this morning in this Trans-Tasman Test.
Yes, I was talking to Rowan during the week, and he was saying that he's particularly pleased with his bowls at the moment. He said that everything just seems to be going right. It just happens to be one of those seasons, so let's only hope that he can continue it at least for today. I'm not too keen if he continues it for the rest of the week, though, Bill. I've got to play him, I think, at some stage, so but let's hope he keeps continuing with it today and can be part of the winning New Zealand team.
Philip Scoggin, meantime, looking to build on the Brassey advantage by drawing a second shot, but he looks well under both weight and green. He'll be disappointed with that bowl, Philip, because that's actually ended up almost the shortest bowl on the rink.
It's not a good bowl from Philip. He has the shot and has the ability to consolidate on that shot too, so he wouldn't be happy with that bowl.
Robbie Ball, 9-7 down on the board, 1 down on the head. An important shot. He's on the jog, chasing this particular bowl of his.
He's playing with a little bit of weight to try and get the rest on the shot bowl, poke it through to the ditch.
And as you can see, was very, very close indeed to playing that. He was a bowl outside it, that's all one could say, because he just shaved past the Brassey bowl. Rowan Brassey walking out onto the green there. I don't know whether he was indicating perhaps a big shot bowl for Philip Scoggin, but I doubt it. Philip Scoggin really probably only has the alternative of playing the backhand and drawing another shot, and 9 to 11 is just that one better than 9 to 10.
To be playing to get through that gap for the Australian bowl, promote his own bowls, and he's done that, promoted to him. He's got 3 shots.
He's got an excellent result. He puts his arms up and says that's what happens when you reach through, and that's exactly what has happened, because that's an important break for New Zealand. They held 1. Philip Scoggin has converted it into 3, like all good skips should, and New Zealand are away to a 12-7 lead on this, after 13 ends in the 94 Qantas Trans-Tasman Pairs. Terry, is that a significant break?
That was an excellent bowl there from Philip Scoggin. It's at the stage now where we've got 8 ends left in the match, and to turn the head around dramatically is what he did then. He has made a big impact on the game. They've shot away to a 5-point lead now. It's 12-7, and so it's significant, and I think that could well be the breaking point there.
Rowan Brassey immediately increases the pressure by playing down and drawing a touch of the bowl, finishing Jack level and a foot away. crunch time in this pairs. When you get a break like that, your confidence lifts. Cameron Curtis would just be starting to feel it a little bit. He'll be thinking to himself, I've got to get close to give Robbie a chance. And Cameron has not got close. He's finished a good 2 to 3 feet short of the head and in the running. Bressy having to change his hands, playing the forehand. Or as we look at it on the screen, the bowl from left to right again. He's pretty well weighted. He's going to go through the back, but when you hole shot, it's a far better position to be in than halfway up the green.
Great bowling.
However, he's rectified that, Cameron Curtis, by coming up on the backhand and sitting his bowl that was in the running and sitting it in for the absolute shot.
Yes, it was a good bowl from Cameron. He was just slightly short, as you said, Bill, about 2 feet, 2'6" short of his first one, and he corrected it perfectly. He just came through, promoted his own bowl. He had the option, if he slipped around it, of sitting the shot bowl, but he promoted it, came through, Australia got one shot.
Philip Scott. Playing down on his forehand, the ball working from left to right, and the ball working pretty well indeed. He's just gone past and shaved the jack. But it's another ball on the head. That was a top shot from Philip.
It was an excellent bowl there from Philip. He's certainly started to display those qualities that he's capable of, and that was an excellent ball from Philip there, because he really was going to be difficult for him to get the shot on that hand, but they certainly had to have another bowl handy. So, and he has done that. He's consolidated the head, and New Zealand got 2 very handy bowls there, although they are 1 down.
Robbie Ball's close as well. In fact, he's very close. He could not be closer. He's gone past his own bowl and he has splashed onto the jack for the absolute shot. Philip Skoglund now being instructed by Rowan Bressy to change hands and play with weight right through it, says Rowan.
Yep. 2 down. He's going to be aggressive to it. He's got a lovely little track down through there, coming underneath the short bowl and trying to disturb the head.
Here he is playing with weight. The bowl working from right to left. The line's so important. Oh, he gets a slip off the front bowl. Sits another one of his own bowls. He'd still be 1 down.
He's removed one of the shots there and has created a very good head for them now. Though they are 1 down, they have got 3 second shots there. The bowl, just as we look at it, sitting to the right of the jack is the shot bowl. It's the Australian bowl, the shot. And New Zealand have got those next 3 bowls there, so it changed the head slightly. He removed one of the counters.
Robbie Ball has played what has ended up an excellent result, but what had the potential to be an absolute disaster. He was certainly 2 to 3 feet too heavy in weight, but just had the good fortune to slip by the jack and sit his own shot bowl.
Yes, he was lucky there, Bill. He got his own bowl square and stayed there for the shot. He could have just, if he'd have been slightly out, he could have cut the jack to the New Zealand bowls or taken his own bowl completely off the head, and would have been a disastrous situation for him there. Robbie has just unfortunately played those odd 1 or 2 bowls a little bit tight coming down on that hand, and he's paid the consequences for them.
Rowan Bressy meantime on his forehand, bowl working left to right as we look at it, but he's wide of the target, slipping past and into the drain it goes. He's got to tighten that line up by probably a couple of feet, looking at the last bowl that he just played. Meantime on the triples on the next rink, the best sign we've seen all morning. Robbie Perella's got all the wet weather gear off and he's stripped down to the short sleeve shirt, so Cameron Curtis has played a very good bowl here. He didn't quite have the weight to sit the New Zealand bowl. There we see Robbie Perella and the the new style Australian shirts, and that's got to be very heartening for Dunedin people.
Great line here,
Ryan
Ryan.
Brassey, meantime, is close. He's very close in the target. He's very close.
Philip Scoggin indicated shot. One shot to us.
Yes. It would still be very close, one would think. That certainly if the Brassey bowl was to move slightly on its angle, it would be shot. I still think it would be very close on the measure, that at the moment. But it's wide open. There's still a number of bowls to be played. I'm sure that won't change the situation. There we see it as we look at it, the Australian bowl on the left, the New Zealand bowl on the right. We'll leave it to you people at home to give us the verdict on that. Cameron Curtis has come down with the bowl in his hand at the moment to talk to Robbie Ball, so they're working out what shot they will play. Meanwhile, Brassey and Scoggin stand at the back of the head, as etiquette does provide in this game. The player with the ball in his hand and in charge of the mat has the right to be standing on the head, and Philip and Rowan just take 2 or 3 paces back.
Unfortunately for Cameron, they're in a position here where they can't play too aggressively to it. They have really... they've got one bowl, that's second shot, I suppose. The last ball of Cameron's, which sat out the side, is in the area, but playing down on his backhand.
Yes, the bowl working right to left on your screen. He's in the target area, that's for sure, and he has pushed the New Zealand bowl through. It sits on an angle. Australia certainly have shot. Now the New Zealand bowl's fallen over, and I think New Zealand might have got shot back.
Yes, momentarily there Australia had shot. Cameron played an excellent bowl there. He pushed the New Zealand bowl through. It went through, sat on its edge for some considerable time, and then fell back in, and that will still be the shot, that New Zealand bowl.
There we see it. New Zealand bowl right behind the jack, the Australian bowl to the left of it. New Zealand have won, as Terry said to you. The bowl set up on its side, but the weight of the bias turned it over for shot.
Philip's got the opportunity now, playing down on the forehand, and just any slight movement of the jack would be to his advantage, or alternatively, if he gets the inside edge of the Australian bowl, he could turn it out, and New Zealand could pick up 2 or 3 shots out of it.
There he is, the bowl working towards the head. Massive concentration. He's just going to be slightly wide of it, but good attempt.
Yep.
We're in unison on that in terms of the commentary position. The crowd just viewing the morning's play here at the North East Valley Club. They've been very patient, the Bowls followers of Dunedin, and finally they're getting some payback, because play underway and quite frankly the sky lightening all the time. Here we see Robbie Ball playing his backhand, looking to disturb the head. He's in the target area again. He's just got wide of the target. He had the chance there to push his own bowl over to the jack. Brassey and Scoggin. Brassey quite firm with his instructions to Philip Scoggin, and that's important. He's saying, play it, be positive, sit the Australian bowl, or any slight movement of the jack is in our favour. It's on his forehand. Ball working left to right, but I don't know whether he played it with the conviction that it deserved.
Yes, it was a situation there, Bill, where Philip had to be reasonably careful as to what he did do. It's a very tight head. The bowls are fairly evenly mixed up, but there was a little bit of danger, and I think he possibly just is happy with that bowl, because it may make Robbie Ball change his shot. that could just well be in his line, that last bowl of Philip Scoglin's. And I think Robbie Ball has now got to look at what alternative he's going to play.
Yes, well, probably more by chance than design that it ended up there, but well, they've had a look at this. Robbie Ball, the last bowl on this, the 14th end, New Zealand hole shot. And the further the ends go and whether they just pick up the one, they all count. So Robbie Ball has got to try and turn this around. He's 12-7 down on the head.
Looks as though he's going to be aggressive to it, Bill.
Yes. Stands with his feet out to the right of the mat as we look at it. Palms the bowl. Touches it with his left hand just to stabilise it. Drive on its way. On the forehand. At the target area. He got all but what he was going for. He was slightly to the right of the target as we look at it. Just on the replay here, Terry. There he goes. He comes down the line very straight, but he's a foot wide of what he's looking at.
Yes, there was just possibility he could have got a result off those bowls, but he got them very square and they just went straight through. He followed through himself. No sort of splay of bowls going in all directions, and New Zealand retain the one shot. They go out after 14 ends. They're 13-7 in front.
Yes, and let's hope that 13, as it is in so many games, is not conspicuous by the fact that you tend to stay on it.
It's probably sooner be there though than on 7, Bill.
Yes, I'm sure the New Zealanders would view it from that point of view. We've played 14 ends in the SIS summer season of bowls in association with Action Television. We're bringing to you the Qantas 1994 Trans-Tasman series. We are concentrating our coverage here at the moment on the pairs clash between Cameron Curtis and Robbie Ball of Australia, Rowan Brassey and Philip Scogland of New Zealand. Brassey leading, Scogland skip, and the Kiwi combination are out to a 13-7 lead. There's 7 ends left to play. This is one of them.
Yes, both games at the 2/3 stage. Triples as well. There are 12 ends of their 18 ends gone by, and New Zealand just slipped a couple of shots behind their Bill. They're 14-12, but as we said, still got 6 ends to go.
Yes, they're playing the last bowl on that particular end on the rink. All the players standing out there having a look at it. In the meantime, Rowan Brassey keeps his head down. Here we see them. Robbie Perella braving the elements in the short sleeves. Cameron Curtis down on the forehand, and that's a loose bowl by Cameron standards because he's gone 3 to 4 feet through the head, and just the pressure perhaps starting to increase. It's absolutely critical in this situation that you're 6 down on, or 6 or 7 down on the board, that you start building heads, Terry.
Yes, Australia will be very conscious at this stage now that it's important for them to score on the next end, next 1 or 2 ends. They certainly won't want New Zealand to go out to any bigger lead than what they are at the moment. And if the lead gets bigger and the ends get less, it becomes harder, and they'll be certainly conscious of that and be wanting to score on this end.
Philip Scogland looking to build on the good lead that Rowan's given him on this particular end. He's played up on the backhand, but he is well short of weight.
Yes, Rowan certainly laid a solid foundation for him on this end, and there's probably what we should say is no real excuse for being short like that. Philip had plenty of room there to consolidate. Robbie Ball replying. He's right on line here. He's looking pretty close to the jack, and I think he's put himself in a position where it may even have one shot. Yep, Rowan Brassey, he indicates 1 down. That last bowl of Robbie Ball's is the shot.
Yes, and that shot bowl foot short of the jack, but counting. So Philip Scoggin now has to change hands, playing down the forehand. The bowl working from left to right as we look at it on the screen. Weight has to be absolutely perfect here. Weight is very good, but
He's played it well.
probably not perfect. Well, it's fallen over, and that will be very close to shot. Good bowl by Philip Scoggin. Had to change hands, had to play the perfect draw weight.
Yes, it was a good bowl from Philip after his previous one, and he'd be happy with that.
Meantime, we can tell you 13 ends gone on the triples. It's 14-13 to Australia. So that discipline of the Qantas Trans Tasman, that could not be closer. Bressy comes down to deliver his third bowl on this, the 15th end. Again, Brass will be looking for the dead draw. He just has to get round that front Australian bowl and he would have shot. Well, he's certainly around it, and he's very wide of it because and he's very heavy with it. And a slight slip in concentration from Brass because that's a loose bowl by his normally high standards. As we say, Rowan Brassey playing his 12th consecutive Trans-Tasman Bowl series, an outstanding international record this fellow has, and the further he goes in his career, the more solid he has become, Terry.
Yes, Rowan is what we probably is going to say, what we should say, Bill, is he's one of the senior players in the side now, and he's got to take positions of responsibility and encourage the new boys in the team. He is a very, very solid player, and completely unperturbed at any stage. He just gets down there and draws shots, and that's Rowan Brassey.
Yes, and he's going to be close again with this one. He's close, as you hear Philip Scoggin saying. He's very close. He's drawn the perfect shot. There's Brassey at his best.
What he's done there, Bill, is he's also brought into contention his two earlier bowls. So all of a sudden, that last bowl of Rowan's, he's made 4 shots out of it, and that's an excellent bowl, that.
Yes, well, we were talking about the Brass that we all know, and as we spoke, he delivered what we were talking about. The perfect shot, a front toucher, shifting the jack, probably from 1 down to 4 up. Cameron Curtis endeavouring to reply on the backhand, but he's narrow, cutting across the head, and for the first time, I think, in this particular series, Cameron Curtis just starting to show the effects of a little bit of pressure.
Yes, he certainly did there, Bill. They fall down on the head, and he really, I think he was really looking to play through the head, underneath the front bowl, and unfortunately he didn't really have the same aggression that I think he should have had. He just seemed to be light, go across the head, and really, one may say, a nothing bowl.
Philip Scoggin playing from a position of confidence. They're up by 6 shots on the board. They've got 3 or 4 currently on the head. Brassey said play wide and wait, get a bowl through to the back.
So certainly wanted some cover there. There's 3 Australian bowls down through there, and they'll be wanting now, if they're lying the 4 that I'm pretty sure they have got there, they will want to have some cover around the back.
Yes, Robbie Ball licks his fingers, which seems to be a habit of his and of a number of bowlers, and makes his way back to the mat. As we can see it just slightly off screen, he again has not got an easy shot here. He's got to play it on the backhand. He's got to ensure that he plays with the weight that's going to reach him through the head. It's on its way, playing his backhand. The bowl will work from right to left on your screen as we look at it.
Certainly got more weight than what Cameron had.
He has. It's a matter of the holes. Are they there? Well, he's plucked out one of the New Zealand bowls, but New Zealand would still have 2 or 3 shots there, Terry.
Yes, they'll definitely have 2 shots, Bill, and the third one probably just looks as though it probably is in contention, so probably a little bit unfortunate that he only got 1 bowl there, but that's the way the head is lying at the moment, that it is possible that you just take 1 out and get no real result out of it. Brian Brassey standing behind the head with his foot where he wants Philip Scoggin to put this bowl. He wants some cover. Australian bowls at the back where if Robbie Ball plays a similar weighted shot, the jack could flick to. He needs some cover, and just looking at it, Philip Scoggin has replied to about exactly where Rowan had his foot. That was a good bowl.
Yes, well, this 15th end at the moment stands very well for New Zealand. Robbie Ball, it only takes 1 bowl to change it all around, but he hasn't got a lot to play to. He's got to play the backhand again, similar line to his first, or is he going to attack it? He's going to attack it, I believe. We've got a drive on its way here because he's palmed the bowl. In actual fact, he's going to try and destroy this situation. We'll be able to tell you maximum concentration that's on its way. He's close, but he's only close because he's cannoned off front bowls and splashed through the head, literally. It's a matter of how many for New Zealand.
Definitely 3 shots.
3 shots. Cameron Curtis very quickly conceding the 3. No element of doubt about it in his mind. He'd have been disappointed to do so. There's the drive on the backhand. He just gets off the front bowl. Again, probably only a bowl width wide of his target.
Yes, I was a little bit surprised there that Robbie went to the drive. He wasn't too far away with his run shot, and on the drive, looking at it, he only really had a 1 bowl target, which he had to slip past his own bowl to get to, and so I was a little bit surprised that he went for the drive. It looked to be a good catch. On the weighted shot, but nevertheless, 3 shots to New Zealand, 15 ends gone, 16-7 to New Zealand.
In the SIS Summer Season of Bowls, the Qantas Trans-Tasman Test Series of 94, brought to you by Action Television. New Zealand in this particular situation, Terry, could kick on to a very solid win here, and that would be most encouraging to not only Rowan and Philip, but to the selection panel who've displayed the confidence in putting them there.
Yes, well, looking at the score, Bill, I can't see Australia coming back and getting themselves into a position where they will win this pairs match. Rowan and with all his experience, and Philip with the bowls that he's playing at the moment, they're a solid combination that will wrap up this pairs match now, and the crucial thing is, of course, going to be the triples, but I'm sure the New Zealand selectors will be very pleased, and it's put them into a good position in this, what we may now say, a one-off test situation, rather than having a series of 3. New Zealand are getting into a position that winning 2 games, and they retain the Trans-Tasman Trophy, and so they're going to win the pairs, that's for sure.
Well, there's a confident prediction from Terry Scott. As bowlers throughout the country would know, anything can happen in this wonderful game. There's still 6 ends, and it's a 16-7 lead, but I would have to concur with Terry's judgment of the situation. I just have the feeling that Cameron Curtis hasn't got close enough, and Robbie Ball perhaps 1 or 2 shot options, not quite as we would read it, and as a result, the distance between the 2 has got greater on the board. Scoggin, meantime, delivering his first bowl on this, the 16th end, playing on the backhand.
Got an opportunity to come in and catch on the 2-shot bowls, and he's coming on not a bad line. Whether he's got the weight or not, I don't know, but it's a good handy bowl. New Zealand 2 down, 2 Cameron Curtis bowls there. He kicked into this end very well, and they'll be looking to score, but New Zealanders, I think, will have other ideas.
Yes, we just see Robbie Ball again lick those fingers in the traditional manner. That's obviously a grip factor for him, or It's on the jog after this particular bowl as it works its way towards the head. He's just going to slip past that target area and sits the back bowl. Brassy in his normal very casual manner just says to Philip, by a swing of the hand, make sure you reach it, sit the bowls. Bowl not quite holding up its line. He probably needed another couple of feet of weight on that.
Yes, I think they're really just trying to draw underneath that front one there, Bill. Get another bowl on the head. If they sit on the bowl that's level with the jack, they'll get the shot out of that. So I think they just really need another bowl handy at this stage, and then they may be able to attack a little bit later on the end.
Yes, there we see the two Australian bowls. They're nearest that white object, which is what the game is all about, the jack or the kitty. Sometimes it's called many other things, but as long as you've got your bowl nearest to that, you've got a score. Robbie Ball, meantime, has come down. He's played a not dissimilar bowl to Philip Skoglund. He's cut across, and indeed he's rested on Philip Skoglund's bowl. Curtis and Ball really have just failed to play the shots that turn games around, haven't they, Terry?
They just, as the game has gone on, they've just seemed to struggle that little bit more, and I think it's a simple case of feeling the pressure. The other guys are just playing better than them, and that's making them just struggle a little bit, and unfortunately for them, as we see, they're just struggling to play those shots that are required.
Brassey's close. Brassey's very close. He's sat one of the Australian bowls out to be only one down, bearing in mind there was one in front of the jack, one to the right hand side of the jack. Sat them out.
He certainly made a lot better head of it for the New Zealanders, although they are still one down. They're not going to get into too much trouble on this end, that's for sure.
There's Cameron Curtis watching his second to last bowl on this end. And he's going to be undone for weight. He was pretty well pointed, but 2 feet short of weight.
Now, you can just plant that bowl onto the shot bowl, it's okay. Don't want you to lose your bowl, you play a couple of feet of weight, it's good.
And there you heard the instruction from Philip Skoglund. I don't want you to lose your bowl, you play a couple of feet of weight. Push your own bowl into the head. Brassey endeavouring to do it for his skipper. But on this particular occasion, not succeeding. His weight was good, just a little bit narrow and green. And Curtis, meantime, has played his last bowl on this particular end, and again, he's just that short of weight. Again, the situation where Curtis playing more a draw weight than an actual turn the head around weight, and Skoglund, meantime, has had a word with Rowan Brassey. He goes back to the mat knowing that he's only one down and probably would be happy to concede the one if he had to, but he's got 2 bowls to make a change. He's playing on his forehand, and he'll be looking to play into the head to remove the Australian shot. To be slightly wide of what he's pointed for, but he's played it pretty well. He's still only the one down. We've got all the rest of the bowls around it though, Terry.
Yes, what we've got is a situation now that with that bowl of Phillips then, they've consolidated the position around the head. Although they are one down, there is now some options for them to play through on the backhand to try and remove the shot bowl, and they may even take that other Australian bowl that's just sitting beyond the shot bowl there. There's 2 Australian bowls in front of the jack. New Zealand have the next 3, so there's options now of playing through on the backhand, or well, maybe he'll play it on the forehand as well.
Yes, he's got the chance on either hand,
and,
really.
Could get a very, very good result out of it.
Robbie Ball, of course, he's still got a bowl to play in between that, so he might change that shot altogether. Couldn't be any closer in the triples, Terry. 14 ends gone, 14 all in the...
Yes, an excellent game over there as well.
Robbie Ball, meantime, playing down on this backhand. Bowl working from right to left. A serious study of Robbie Ball, but he's just too much weight. He's through to the back of the head.
So he'd be looking at the option there of trying to promote his own bowl or sit onto the New Zealand bowl. Unfortunately, he's done neither, and he's left New Zealand with this option now of playing. I think they'll look at it, Bill. I think they'll start playing with a wee bit of weight to this, and hopefully remove at least the shot bowl. But the option is, as I said, to take away the other Australian bowl and get 3 shots.
Yes, well, it doesn't look to be any real danger, even if the shot goes slightly sour for them, because nowhere really on the head does Australia have a cluster of bowls. Well, he hasn't changed his hand. He's still playing the forehand, Phillips Goglin.
Yep. Must be just happy to draw to it.
Bowl left to right. You've heard Brass say it's not far away, so we'll be able to tell you shortly on screen, but he is far away to a degree. He's actually just undone himself for weight and finished well short of that target.
Yes, I was a little bit surprised there, Bill. I really did think that they may play with a little bit of weight to it, a bit of aggression there. The head seemed to be pretty well covered, and as you said, if that went sour for them, they wouldn't end up in too much trouble. So nevertheless, they must say to themselves, I suppose, let's play the board. If we drop one, well, we're still in a good position.
Yes, and difficult for Robbie Ball really to add to this. He can only come down and look to use bowls to get in for second shot.
Line, Rob.
Gavin Curtis' good line, Rob, so we'll see how it comes.
Well, he's still got 1 shot only. He's come down and promoted an Australian bowl, past the original shot Australian bowl, but I think he's still only got the 1.
It's close, Bill. Not close to the first thought. It's just the 1.
Played 16 ends, it's 16-8 to New Zealand in the pairs contest, the 94 Qantas Trans-Tasman series, bearing in mind, of course, that the first 2 tests washed out through torrential downpours over the last 2 or 3 days here in Dunedin. So day 3, the 3rd test, has almost become the first test. It's instant stuff. It's like the one-day cricket. You either win it or you lose it, and decide making, bearing in mind that it's played over the 4 disciplines. We're watching the pairs that we're covering here at the moment. Triples being played on the adjacent rink. That's 14 all after 14. And then this afternoon we bring you the pairs, we bring you the singles match, while the 4s will be played on the adjacent